This video is sponsored by the Design Mechanism, the makers of Mythras. Mythras is a registered trademark of the Design Mechanism Inc., used with permission. All rights reserved. Believe me, I will be using the rules extensively tonight. and my combat cards, which, can I say, I would not be without my combat cards. Mainly because of things like these. I don't know if you can see those. Those are my action points. So I have them on my keyboard, and then once I've used an action point, I turn it over. And so it's sort of like, but it.
I have a pencil.
Yeah, you have a pencil. But it also.
Oh, that's good. D6.
Yeah, and
D6.
because I have my luck points as well.
Oh, that's easy. I have one.
You're 29 D6 away. You're 29 D6 away from playing Star Wars.
Yeah, and then I have this, so I can track fatigue. So I could just move my little counter down. I must admit, the nicest things are, just to sort of like recap on last week's, are when I've got all these in front of me, so I know exactly what each of the things do.
Scary moment.
Anyway, hello everyone, and welcome back. Welcome to
episode. Streaming.
Yeah, it's episode 2 of.
Yes.
The Dark Tower. I think, yeah,
it is.
Yeah, because we started last week, and last week we sorted out experience points, experience rolls, I think, and we had a lot of success with that. And then you did some background information or anything that you wanted the character to do, and then we started on the new, a new adventure called the Dark Tower. And you had actually just arrived into the midst of battle when we left you. So before I give you a quick synopsis and a quick overview about what's happening, then I'm going to allow the players an opportunity for them to say who they are and who they will be playing tonight. I should roll a 1d6. Let me roll a 1d6. Chugga-wugga, you're going first.
Hi guys, I'm Chugga. The character that I play is called Gulliver. He's the youngest member of the party. He's an apprentice sorcerer. The order that he's in, he has to join an order because you have to be in an order on the lands of Odis. Otherwise, you're considered a renegade. But his order is that of the Kraken, the Blue Order, the order that specializes in spells involving around communication, transportation, and teleportation. The sorcerers have their own abilities, their ability to actually shape their spells to how they see fit. He can change various aspects of it, including range, power, number of targets that they can affect, or he can even combine several spells into a single cast. He also has numerous minor cantrips at his disposal. The cantrips are based on the folk magic school of Mythras. So, yeah, that's my character, Gulliver. Also, I didn't know whether or not you were rolling.
No, because otherwise the same number might...
I shall pass on to Longshanks.
Thank you very much, Chugga. Hi guys, I'm Longshanks CPG. And tonight I'm playing the character Hengist, a noble warrior of noble birth from across the sea. He fights in heavy armor and has recently started picking up a two-handed sword. Well, it's 1.5-handed sword, but he fights with it two-handedly. And he can fight with it one-handedly as well if he needs to. He's slightly above average height, but only just slightly above average build, but muscular in despite that. He wears iron half-plate armor all over, which is enameled in green and has the crest of his family on it, which is a rearing horse. He has managed to make his way into the nobility of Lindo, which he hadn't originally done, which was rather confusing for him. Sort of like when he first arrived, he went up to the castle of Count Bastian, spoke to the guard and said, I would like to enter, I am so-and-so, and they went, huh? Who? But now he hasn't tried, but he might be able to get it because he's part of the noble house Galot in Lindo, which is one of the 3 major houses of nobility. And he's had varying success with them so far, but he's also like been getting on with the day-to-day tasks of the house recently after something happened where he was standing and trying to fight off a bunch of assassins, and then the House of Galot's leader kind of got brutally tortured and murdered whilst he was pinned to the floor. But that didn't happen. So
moving on from there.
Moving on swiftly. Hengist was hungover that day. I think that's what it was. I will pass it on to Mr. Pickles.
I am Mr. Pickles, and I play our group's theist, Bartleby Themis. He was once an aspiring bard or an entertainer of sorts, but his hands were broken by bandits, and he was saved by the priestesses of Amriel. That's the goddess he now serves. Amriel is the light moon goddess, and through her, he's able to work miracles such as healing people from very dangerous wounds, turning out poison and disease, being able to bring divine protection onto himself and to others in the form of glowing shields. He's able to make Hengist's sword more brilliant and damaging, and he can provide other sorts of minor prayers that help the party survive through Amriel's grace. Beyond that, though, he is knowledgeable of this land, being somebody who is from this land. He knows a lot about the history of the land. He knows about monsters in the area due to his obsession with that kind of literature. And he's also very much interested in helping the impoverished people of the town that we reside in, Lindo. And with that, I will pass it on to Medivac.
Why, thank you. I'm Medivac, and I play Hazard Khan. He's a nomad from northern steppes of Odes. He's a group scout, tracker, forager. I've got 2 budgies fighting in the background.
Fight!
Fight for your dinner!
He's recently joined the Brotherhood, who are a secretive group that keep a track of the biomes and the people, how people affect biomes and change in them. They're very interested in how everything affects the world and nature, which is very interesting. He likes to fight with a short spear and a scimitar, and you will always see him clad out in either, well, it depends. When he's in the city, which he hates, he'll be wearing a white padded, like a quilted armor where his face is covered, pretty much like his picture, really. And when he's out and about in working, as he puts it, he'll be in a grey, almost dirty-looking outfit, which is exactly the same, just a different dirty grey colour. And with that, I shall pass it to him. I'll go to my birds. Bye.
Yeah, we almost like need a budgie cam. Just see these budgies laying into each other. I don't know who was first, Garish, but everyone is most welcome. Yeah, that's a good. That's 2 turtle doves. I can see what that is.
He's just given them the eye. He's just stared at them.
Did you just?
I gave him the Lionel Blair stare.
So lots of things have been happening recently in the campaign, and all the characters are sort of like developing themselves individually as the stories progress. Hengist, as he said, has really sort of like taken to the upper class of Lindo, being a member of House Galot and receiving strange flowers from someone in the post, which we have yet to figure out who that is, although some people might already have a very good inkling who it might be. So he's rising up in nobility. Hazra is rising up in his wilderness craft. He recently learned to understand, to interpret, to decipher the secret signs used by the Brotherhood to track animals. And he's also got his almost like his little personal butchering occupation career when he goes out and sells fresh meat, including a lynx, I think it was,
And what happens afterwards is not his responsibility.
to Basil Earless, the proprietor of the Hairy Hobgoblin, which the rest of the group and party really enjoyed on the evening to various states of endurance rolls. Bartleby is the member of the party who is passionate about the slums. He is the person who wants to really make sure that the lower class, the people on the streets, are really being cared for. And he's currently trying to put together a recommendation, a project to the church council in the Church of Amriel to persuade them to actually become, to provide money to be distributed and to help the poor and lonely. So really and truly, Hengist is at one end of the scale and Bartleby is at the other end of the scale. You never know, Hengist might actually try to persuade House Galot to help the slums as well, although I've seen his influence roll, his skill. We might just...
It's the superlative 99.
Yeah, we might just leave that for a while. And Gulliver has been rising up the ranks of his Order of the Kraken. Now, just to remind people that in Mythras there are no levels, so you don't first level, second year level or anything like that. The way you get more powerful spells in Gulliver's sake, or miracles in the Theus and Bartleby's occupation, is that you increase the rank you are in within the order. And in order to do that, you need to do certain skills, you need to have certain expertise, learn certain spells, etc., etc. So last week, we've had, the adventure has flipped between focusing on particular characters, and last week, after focusing on Hengist for the House Galot, the Great Boar Hunt, which is available to watch on my YouTube channel, we switched the attention to young Gulliver, and he got summoned to his mentor, a wonderful lady called Danielle. And when he arrived, the party were all invited together, the whole group, and they met one of Gulliver's childhood friends, which who was quite arrogant and quite nasty to poor little Gulliver. However, Gulliver's not so closest friend in the party actually dealt with that and actually saw the injustice, and with a swift whipping out of his spear staff, managed to make the poor unfortunate bully take a nasty fall. They then proceeded up to Gulliver's mentor's room, and as they waited outside, they could hear a bit of a discussion going on inside. Things like words were being used like, "you owe me," and then the party were brought in, and as well as Gulliver's mentor there was a black-robed magician, a black-robed sorcerer there, who seemed to introduce himself as Forbriere, and then left. And the party have been tasked on a maintenance job. I think the best explanation of it is, as part of his role in the Order of the Kraken, the Blue Order, Gulliver is required to check out portals that are no longer functioning. And it just so happens that the portal in the Dark Tower is no longer functioning. The party has been tasked to go out and to find out what is the problem. However, there is a subplot as well, in the sense that the Blue Order is very suspicious. Did the aforementioned black-robed wizard, was he kicked out of his master's tower, the Black Tower, or did he leave on his own accord? And what is going on there? What is the ins and outs of the Dark Tower and its occupants? The party, luckily, well, unluckily actually, because the rest of the group, apart from Gulliver, which is his duty, the other three were getting paid 200 silver pieces per day, and they got very excited since the island is 2 weeks away. But sadly, the Blue Order revealed to the party that they have a ship called, quite aptly named, the Kraken, which actually has a summoning portal on the lower decks. That is currently either close by or near to the island, and the party were ported via the Blue Order through into the ship. The party arrived on the ship and had to make various rolls to keep upright or to puke everywhere. And people were rocking around backwards and forwards, not very well at all, when they suddenly heard the sound of battle up above. Two of the party, I think it was Gulliver and Hengist, although I can check. I'll just move across to my boat. Two of the group managed to get up on top. Yeah, Hengist and Gulliver. Let me just switch this scene. You can see them there. They managed to get up to the top deck. Hengist taking it all in his stride. Gulliver rocking backwards and forwards and just taking the closest entrance and exit. Down below on the lower deck, I think Hazra was Hazra rocking in a corner, and Bartleby went over to deal with him.
Yeah, I think I got like a really great roll on the endurance or something, and so I was moving over to see if Hazra needed a prayer of calmness or a prayer of healing.
Hazra doesn't like portals.
Like water by the look of it either.
Yeah, and this is where we left it. And as Gulliver and Hengist reached the upper deck, they suddenly saw that the boat was being attacked by Harpies, these strange half-women, half-bird creatures that seem to be swooping down. Now, several things before we start. I just want to, number one, give you a quick overview of what's the upstairs is like on deck, so to speak. The other thing is, I'd just like to say that we had a really interesting chat, and thank you, Hazra, for involving yourself in there. That was really helpful. And somebody else came into the chat. We were talking about movement and how many times you can move through in a combat round, and we got to talking about it, and I think what I was very much aware of is also done. So like saying, oh, this is the combat now, right, who's going to actually move first? I'm not going to move first, because if I move first I won't get the action, etc, etc, etc. And also this idea, which I'm not a great fan of, is, right, I can move 4 meters, so that's 2 meters here, 3 meters there, 2 meters there. This, I can just get behind the barrel, so to speak. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to trial for a period of sessions a slightly different way of doing it. So when we get to an incident such as this, rather than saying, right, Hengist, you're the top initiative, what would you like to do? And you say, I'll move 2 meters towards it, and then the harpy swoops down and gets the first attack. What I'm going to do is say to your characters, right, what would you like to do? Okay, before we roll initiative or anything like that. So, for example, it might be, I wish to engage with the nearest harpy in combat. It could be, I wish to throw my spear at a harpy. It could be, I wish to make sure that I'm in a safe place and then start spell casting. It'll need to be very generic, so don't start asking things like, how many barrels are piled on top of each other and what's the height of that? It'd be something that you say, instead of saying that, you might say something like, I'm going to look around the ship for available cover and get to it. Once everybody's decided what they're doing, then we will move you into those positions and then roll initiative. Okay, so, and then get into the combat. So I want to try to take away some of the tactical steps, because as somebody pointed out in the Discord, sometimes it can detract from the actual narrative, and which I'm a great believer on. So we're going to trial it for a couple of weeks and see how that goes. Let me describe to you what's happening up on the top of the ship, Gulliver and Hengist, because you're up there at the moment. The boat is rocking quite severely. Up above, overhead, you can see a number of storm clouds. There seems to be horizontal lightning flashing across the sky. Not sort of like coming down, but actually going across. And that's really strange. Nothing seems to be coming down to land on either the boat or the sea at all. The sea is quite rough. There's quite a strong wind blowing, but it seems to be buffeting both the ship and the sailors, and and the Harpies as well. The ship has its sails down. It just has one front sail on up that is sort of like catching the wind now and again, but even then you see it sort of like balloon out 1 minute, and then the next minute it's sort of like balloon the other way. There seems to be Harpies flying around the place, and they seem to be sort of like lunging down, and there seems to be sailors all around the place with what appears to be harpoons. They look like short spears, but rather than Hazra's. I couldn't remember your name then, Hazra. My mind just.
Don't worry about it.
And can I just say, I had a dream last night. That Hengist died.
It could happen.
Honestly,
can happen in this game.
And can I say, Longshark CPG, you took it very well.
That's fine.
You actually said, well, I have several other characters already made to play. So rather than just a normal spear, they seem to have a spear, a blade on the end, but with a hook coming off it as well. And they seem to be waiting till the Harpies sort of like dive down to the deck. And then they try to impale them on these hooks, or try to whack them sideways so they fall down and land heavily on the ground. You can see that they have been, Gulliver and Hengist, you can see that they've been successful in certain places when there's 2 or 3 sailors gathered round a harpy, and you can sort of like see feathers going everywhere. They sort of like ram their hooks into the beast. There seems to be one person up on the deck behind you here that seems to have he seems to have a sword and a dagger out rather than a harpoon. There seems to be, he is obviously some kind of the captain. You can see that he's shouting orders, and there seems to be what seems like a quartermaster, the steerer of the ship. He's at the big wooden wheel trying frantically to keep it in one place as it buffs around in the turmoil. There's no water coming down from the skies. It's not raining, but there is this crack of lightning horizontal and the roll of thunder. I would like to say distant, but it's not at all. It seems to be right the way over your head. So to start off, we're going to go under deck, and we're going to start off with Bartleby and Hazra. Okay then, so you two, Bartleby, let's say that you've just got over to Hazra. Hazra's kneeling down or crouched down. Yes, Bartleby, how are you going to start us off?
Well, if I'm already there, Bartleby would probably ask Hazra a question. But his goal here, for the initiative order, so to speak, would be he wants to help Hazra.
Okay then. Excellent. And what will Hazra's sort of like role be?
Hazra will be more like, I can't believe I did that. I don't like those things. It brought me here in such a strange way. I hate when Gulliver does these things to me.
So more of
Good to answer him.
more of a discussion about explaining to Bartleby. Okay, then let's come up to the top of the deck. Hengist, what's going to be your action?
So
What you
Hengist
want to
is
do?
going to take the situation in, draw his sword, and then he's going to make his way up to the course deck where the captain is.
Okay then, yeah. And Gulliver, what will your action be?
Gulliver wants to make his way up to the quarter deck where the wheel is, using any available handholds to help him.
Okay then, fantastic. So could you all now remember to click on your character and roll your...
Don't have access to
Oh,
it.
we can't.
Oh, sorry. My problemo. Let me assign you. Well done, Hazra. 20, Hazra. Is that good? That seems really high.
That's too good.
Yeah,
not
pity
even
you're at the back. There's rocking back and forth.
It's not even his maximum initiative roll either.
No, it's not.
Right, Gulliver, you can be done now. Hengist, I'm just putting yours up now. You should be up now.
Thank you.
There you go. And then Bartleby, let me get you up. Bartleby Fumers. There you go. Right, I'm just going to do, just so you know, I'm just going to do one for all the Harpies, if that makes sense. I'm not going to do multiple Harpy rolls. So that's 13. Let's just pop you in order. There. And just to let you know that the sailors will operate on 10 if they need to. Okay, so if they need to operate, they actually operate last on the actual grid. Okay then, so Hengist and Gulliver, you head up to the top deck. Okay, which is, let me put you up there. Let me just zoom out so I can see both of them at the same time. Whoop. And so Hengist, Gulliver, you can see the wheel. Hopefully, can you see the wheel?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you go over there. Hengist, I'll put a character on for the sailor, so you know roughly where you are stood. Right. So here comes. I'm just going to use a boring token. I think I've got a pirate somewhere. I'm sure we had pirates one day.
Arr.
Yeah, exactly. Or words to that effect. If not, it might have to be a giant centipede. So, I've got... Look, there's the Braytrachians. I haven't seen those around for ages.
It's a funny ship's captain. Looks like a frog.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd like to be a Braytrachian.
Right, I'm going to put him on as animated armor. So that's going to be the captain there. Okay then. So you, Gulliver and Hengist, you make your way up to the poop deck, as we like to call it. And as you go up there, that's movable by Gulliver. I just noticed that one. Let's take you out of there because I don't think you need to be a member. You don't need control over a set of armor. So as you get up there, or start to make your way up there, as you probably imagine, some of the actual Harpies see that you are moving in that direction, and they're going to take a pot shot at you. They're going to swoop down as you go along. So the first thing that you will be able to do, just so you know, is that if it hits you, Okay, only if it hits you, then you will be able to sort of like then decide, oh, I'm going to roll, or I'm going to evade, or something like that. So if that makes sense, you will have that option. I'm trying to get rid of his name because it's really annoying me that it's got animated armor underneath him. I want to put ship's captain. I'm going to put captain. He's going to be called Captain Birdseye. No, we'll just call him Captain. There you go. He's now the captain. Okay then. So these harpies will swoop down and try to. There's only one coming down at you, so don't worry too much at this point. It probably comes from you Hengist, because you will be the first person going up there. So it's going to use its combat style here. Oh yes, let's start off the day.
Dreams come true.
Yeah. So it sort of like swoops down, and you, out of the corner of your eye. Hang on, do I have 3 action points? No, 4. Sorry. Let me get all my action points out.
It's a good thing Hengist has 6.
Yeah. So it comes sweeping down at you, and you sort of like see it out the corner of your eye suddenly coming down, and you're sort of like, your combat warrior instincts take over. What would you like to do?
Hengist is immediately going to try and block the attack. So he's got his sword. He'll bring it up and try and swipe out whatever it is that's being struck at, whether it's an arm or a leg, claw, or whatever it is.
Yeah, so
he's going to try and parry it.
Parry it, yeah, go for it.
On a 42 out of 62.
Yeah, and remember, all your actions are actually hard, difficulty of hard, because of the rocking ship and everything. So you got the best roll you probably could there. And how big is your sword?
It is, because I'm using it two-handed, it is a large.
Okay then, so
size.
the harpy sort of like flies down, and arms or claws stretched out, and you almost like see it coming at the last moment. You turn to one side and almost like flat sword it and bash it off, and it sort of like wheels away as you're knocking it back and allowing both you and Gulliver to sort of like reach the top. Okay then, we'll come back to you in a second, because I'm going to switch into turn order just so we're doing things. So Hazra, you're there sort of like blabbering away at Bartleby.
And it is blabbering away. He's completely, he's in a little bit of shock. He's not expecting what happened. He knew what was going to happen, but it's still throws him completely off, because it's the most unnatural feeling he's ever had.
Are you in grey or white at the moment?
I'm in grey.
Good job. Good job.
Could see me brown.
Yeah. Okay then. So Hazra's is sort of like muttering.
Yeah, he's like he's mumbling. He's there. He's trying to collect himself. That's going to take a little bit of time.
Yeah, and Bartleby is down at your side. So Bartleby on 16. What would you like to do?
I was trying to help Hazra, and hearing what he said, I'm going to diagnose that it's more emotional than physical. So I'm going to try and pray for Amriel to give him some calmness and bring him about quicker. Be this.
Oh yeah, nice.
And it would be this. There we go.
Yeah, so that hard roll will actually work. I'm going to Hazra, I'm going to ask you to make a willpower. Because I think it's quite taxing this, to overcome this deep-rooted fear that you have.
Definitely.
Yeah. So could you just roll your willpower for me?
Oh.
Yeah, and you fail, Ed. You suddenly feel the calmness of Amriel. What does that look like, Mr. Pickle? Sorry. Yeah.
Most likely in this case, it's Bartleby keeps putting his hands on Hazra's shoulders, and Hazra's twisting and turning, and then I'll just saying, "You got to pray with me, Hazra." And then they begin to both pray, mostly Bartleby talking over Hazra at first. He kind of calms down, and you might see a bit of a light glow, a halo of moonlight around Bartleby.
Oh, it's sort of like backlit from
Very faint.
yeah.
And
There's
the
this.
last thing you hear, it'll be Hazard going, "Emryo,
Yeah, you have returned.
how you doing?"
Brilliant. So let's move up now to the poop deck. Gulliver, you have sort of like made your way up here. You've seen Hengist bat off a harpy that was coming down, and you're now over by the wheel. What would you like to do now that you're over there?
I'd like to make a free action to take in my surroundings to see whether or not I can see the tower and the rock thing coming up, and then I want to prepare and cast a spell.
Okay, so what spell would you be casting?
I'm going to be casting a holdfast spell. I'm going to be casting it on two people, one of them being me, the other person being the person at the wheel. I'm going to target our boots so that I adhere both him and me to the deck to stop us falling over.
Cool. And how long will that take you now to cast?
It will take me two goes. Two.
2. Okay then. So we've got one spell going off, but we're doing 2 people. Are you doing it at touch or at range?
No, touch.
Touch.
Because
Okay.
I'm right next to him, so I put one hand on his shoulder and channel the magic through it, and the other hand will be touching my leg, which will then channel the magic down through me onto.
Cool. Okay then. So you start to channel this spell. It's going to take you 2 turns. So hopefully in the next turn it will come off. Harpies have done their attack. You can see the battle proceeding round the rest of the ship as well. Hengist, you approach the captain. What would you like to do?
Hengist will use a free action to start off with, and he'll say to the captain, "The Order of the Kraken have sent us, but we'll get to that later. We'll help you out in this situation." And then Hengist will then turn to prepare an action to defend himself at that moment.
Okay, and the
If he gets
captain,
attacked again.
the captain sort of like turns to you and says, "You picked a right time to come on board, boy." Like this, as he's seeing that, you suddenly see behind him this harpy sort of like coming down and sort of like think like that, but at the last moment he goes chonk like that with his dagger and just slices it quite nicely across the throat, and the harpy sort of like falls to the ground, and he turns and sort of like flips both his sword and his dagger upright and just sort of like rams them both in to the harpy, who makes a sort of like a gurgling sound as he takes it off, and he says, a right good time, but don't worry, you will be well needed in this fight. And you're sort of like turning then to prepare yourself if anything comes towards you.
Yes.
Brilliant. Okay then, so let's go down to combat round 1, still turn 2. Coming back to you, Hazra and Bartleby. So Hazra, you feel a lot calmer now as the light of Amriel soothes your beating heart. What would you like to do?
Well, Hazra,
I can hear seagulls.
Seagulls, I know. As a free action, Hazra will say to Bartleby, "Thank you, my friend, for your blessing. Go help them above," and then he will stand himself up as his action.
Okay, cool. Bartleby.
Bartleby is going to nod, say, "Yes, but before I leave, I pray to Amriel that you will be protected." Free action, and ideally this little prayer.
Yeah, cool.
Can I use a point of luck to re-roll? Because I need a hard, right?
Yes, that is correct.
You are worthy of protection? You are.
It hasn't come up for me yet.
No,
20 out of 52 on my end.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, why
But
is it?
that's
Oh, yes, there it goes. 20 out of
Oh.
52. Yeah, so let's put your protection up.
1d3.
Yeah. So just remember when you get hit, 1d3 to sort of like protect you.
As you will wink at Bartleby.
Right. Yeah. So
How you doing?
So after the winking has, I found this. It's called Angel Outfit. I really love it for sort of like Amriel's protection. It looks really cool. That. Okay then. So we're up at the top. Gulliver, I think your spell will go off this turn because it's 2 turns. So you need to roll your incantation skill.
Yeah, I've got a 97 out of a 99.
It's hard, remember. So you got 97 out of 66.
All right, it's hard.
Yeah.
Well, I'll use a point of luck to reroll then.
Yeah, brilliant. These rerolls are taking ages to appear on. Oh no, there you go. Yeah, so that's brilliant. So
Worth the wait.
Yeah, so remove the point of luck from yourself. Yeah, and tell me, how does this manifest itself?
He just closes his eyes, and when he opens, they're watered over, and he casts a spell.
Okay, so it has no physical manifestation or anything like that in the real world.
Not this one.
No. Okay then. So tell me, what's the resist for it?
If you want to resist, it's on endurance.
Right, because
If he knows it's coming.
I say again, sorry.
If he knows it's coming.
Yeah, and I think that's like any spell. I think he will probably resist because it's something that is quite unusual that is going to happen. So let me roll some dice. 53. I just need to find my sailors. What's that? Is that endurance? Did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he fails his endurance roll. So are his feet attached to the floor?
His boots are adhered to the
floor. Yeah. And what about yours as well?
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. Okay then. So now harpies come into action. So what we're going to have now, prize targets up at the top. Are you crouched down behind the rail, Gulliver?
No.
No. Okay then. So what is going to happen then is that we're going to have one sort of like swooping down at you, Hengist, and one swooping down to you, Gulliver. Now they're not charging down to you. So they're not taking this whole round to actually charge to do the extra damage or anything like that. They're sort of like coming down, and as they get close to you, they're back flapping their wings to try to lash out with their claws at you as they come down. So let me roll. So Gulliver, this is going to be yours to start off with. And that misses you altogether. And this is against you, Hengist. And this one will hit on a 30 out of 44 there.
Hengist will again try and parry it with his sword.
Cool, yeah. Parry away. Oh, yes. Yeah, easily. And you sort of like...
No, I'm not going to. I was tempted, but I'm not going to.
And he sort of like comes down, and as it comes down, it's just sort of like... You sort of like see it coming, and Gulliver, yours sort of like flies over you, almost like misses you by inches. You see it sort of like skimming over, feel it over the top of your head. Hengist, yours actually... You make contact with it, and as it comes up, you sort of like whack it with the flat end of your sword again, and it sort of like veers out the way and flies back up, and the captain behind you says, "Nice one, boy, keep it up," like that behind you. Hengist, it's your... If you would like to take a combat swing at this harpy before it goes out of range, then that is possible.
Because I just need to double check. So at the beginning, when he moved over and took the first parry, was that a combat action?
That was a combat action.
In that case, I don't have any action points.
Okay then. And so this one sort of like flies off, and this one flies off. So that's turn 2 done. Anybody acting on turn 3 at all? Hazra?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Hazra will, now he's up, he will go rushing upstairs to the, where's the rest of the map? To the lower deck. And so he's going to come up here, isn't he?
He'll come up here. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. I just take a quick surveillance what's going on. He's not going to throw his spear at anything. What happened last time? Yes.
It's a moving target this time.
No. The last time he threw his spear was that lizard flying thing, and it took his father's spear away.
It was a wyvern, I think it was.
It's a wyvern, yes. So yes, that's what he's doing.
Okay, then. So you're coming up. Are you preparing yourself for attack?
I will be. Yeah, he's always prepared for attack. He's there with his spear, both hands, looking up top of the stairs, looking around, surveying the area.
Brilliant. So you can see this frantic combat going on up there and everything that I said before, but you can also see the clouds and the lightning. Yeah. And then Bartleby, what would you like to do?
I have no actions, so I'm just going to be confident with my prayers.
Okay, then. Confident being Gulliver, what would you like to do?
Did I notice anything with my assess situation?
Make a perception roll for me, please. Yeah, on your hard roll, 32 out of 42. The ship seems to be facing, so sort of like to the west where you are, because that's where the front of the... Sorry, straight ahead of you to the east, because that's where the front of the ship is. You can see that in the distance, there seems to be this sea stack that just sort of like rises straight out from the sea. You can actually see from your perception roll that this appears to be where the Harpies have originated from. It almost like looks as if the ship has come into range and they've sort of like taken off from the island. And the reason you could tell this is that you can see some are still coming from it and others are turning back, maybe flapping with an injured leg or something like that. Yeah, what would you like to do on 14?
I will cast a spell.
Okay.
So the spell that I'm going to cast is that at the closest harpy that he can see, maybe one that's coming in for a swoop.
Yeah, cool.
And he will point at it and say "Evet" as he casts the spell.
Nice crit. So that takes no magic points, and this is my endurance roll. So I failed that in any case. So this is going to be Harpy number 2. So Harpy number 2 is actually she's now at formidable.
Are they wearing armor or carrying any type of weapon, or is it just claws and feathers?
And from what you can see briefly at the moment as they dive in and out of you, they seem to be claws and feathers at the moment. Okay, so that's your roll done, and Hengist doesn't have anything else. Harpies don't have any, so I could turn my action points up. So we're going up to combat round 2, turn 1. And Hazra, you are up on deck. What would you like to do?
Hazra's had to scan around. He can see, hopefully, Hengist and Gulliver on the top back deck.
Yes, they're sort of like back here.
There. So what Hazra will do, he'll run up to the front deck. Let me move myself. So he's facing forward, and he'll be there. Again, he's going to just brace himself, spear pointed forward, watching what's coming in.
Okay, cool. So
you come to me, number 2. Time is up.
So you're probably delaying your action, aren't you?
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Well, to be fair, no, I've moved. So yeah.
Okay. Then, so Bartleby.
Bartleby is not entirely sure what's going on above deck, and there could be pirates, there could be giant eagles. He doesn't know, so he's going to be going up very cautiously to peer around, like in case anybody has crossbows.
Yeah.
With the goal of assessing the situation, and if he has to do it on his next turn, his goal is to roll lore monsters to see if he knows anything.
Yeah. Okay, then roll your monster lore of monsters.
54 out of 55.
Okay. It'll actually still be hard because you're trying to.
Out of 37, then.
Yeah. Which means you'll fail at this point.
I can't recall any stories at this moment. I'm just going to be a little bit afraid.
I didn't know whether or not you wanted to look it or not. You can look it and roll it again. No,
I'm not going to use luck on that one.
Yeah, so you sort of like probably come out and sort of like see this and think, "Holy Mother of Amriel, what are these?" As they're swooping down, and several sailors are sort of like dealing with them, and that brings us on to Gulliver.
Gulliver's going to start to prepare another spell.
Cool. Okay.
I mean, what he's looking at doing, you said one of the sails was up. Is there sort of like bits of rigging and stuff?
If you tell me what you want to do, then we can decide whether or not it happens.
Start preparing a enlarged spell, which I want to hold and release at a certain time when maybe one of the Harpies is flying past something, so that I can enlarge it. So rather than it flying by, it then crashes into part of it.
Okay, so are you focusing on the actual sail or some rigging?
Well, I probably rigging if I can. That's why I was asking what was.
Okay.
So I need to know sort of like range.
Well, you can see where the two masts are, so you can probably work out the range from there. Remember, there's also a mast in the centre. You can see it on the lower deck. So that one is probably going to be within your power.
Okay.
In meters, I think. What's your power?
My power's 15, so anything within.
Yeah, so you could probably do. You could probably do either one of them. I would have thought, but.
Okay. So I'll try to do the middle one because there's definitely more. But I'll probably need to. I'll probably need to hold it.
Yeah, that's cool. So can you just? Yeah,
I'm doing it now.
And then I can see how many turns it'll take to cast it. 2. Yeah, okay, brilliant. And then we move on to Harpies. So first of all, Hazra, you're readying and preparing yourself. You notice that a harpy sort of like comes out of the turmoil, that's the storm, just as you're coming up onto the forward deck. But it's really brilliant because as it comes down, you suddenly turn to see it there, and you bring your spear around, and then you just notice this huge harpoon just sort of like flash before you, and sort of like takes this harpy sort of like right in the side, and sort of like pushes it out and sinks, goes off the side of the deck and sort of like into the water. And one of the sailors from lower down on the deck sort of turns around to you and says, he's obviously got no harpoon now. He says, "Welcome aboard, lad!" like this at you as he sort of like dispatches this harpy as it comes round. Another one will come down for you, Hengist, as it sort of like flies down. So it'll use its action to make a lovely attack on you, if that's all right. Oh, there we go. Yeah, but it's sort of like coming down, and then a buffer wind sort of like brings it off, and it has to sort of like angle its wings in order to sort of like keep from falling off into the sea. So yeah, it will fly by you if you wish to take an action.
Hengist will. Noticing that it's had to shear off at the last second to stay in the air, he'll take that opportunity to do a two-handed swing.
Cool.
And then an attempt to try and time it and make contact with.
Let's see what your timing's like.
The harpy. No, I missed completely and spin in a circle.
Slap its butt.
Yeah, you sort of like spins round and fumble it. Something quite incredibly, maybe actually catching the edge of the bird as well as the harpy. Could you make for me an athletics check, please? I just want to see whether or not you're going to keep hold of your sword as you fumble. That can't be right, actually.
Gulliver,
oh no,
look.
It can be. Yeah, yeah. You sort of like mistime everything, and it sort of like knocks your blade.
Shit probably rocks at that. What goes like down a swell at that moment as well. So he's completely all over the place. And lost his footing, missed.
You're not sure. You're not sure, but you can't tell whether or not the harpy is screeching as it goes by you, or almost like heckling you, and they're going, ah! As it goes by. The captain turns around and says, "Don't worry, boy, it happens to the best of us at times." As Harpy comes in from him, and he actually skewers it with both the sword and the dagger, and then sort of like flips it over and withdraws them, and it sort of like plummets to the ground. Okay then, so let's Gulliver. Oh no, your spell will go off next turn, won't it? Is that right? Yeah, and brilliant. So that's the end of combat round, and the first turn. So we're going into combat round 2 still. Combat turn 2. Hazra, you are up and ready. What would you like to do?
Again, I'm just watching the skies. I'm doing a 360. I'm looking round. I've nodded to the sailor who threw his harpoon in such a
saved your life.
Way. Saved my life indeed. And I'm looking round and I'm just keeping an eye out. Spear ready. Again, holding my turn until.
Cool. So you're going to delay your action, which means that which means you're only allowed to use it for defensive purposes. Yeah. Okay then, Bartleby, what would you like to do?
While hugging the rail and trying not to fall off, Bartleby wants to look across the deck and see if there's anybody injured, perhaps.
Yeah.
Any on our side that are injured, not Harpies. I don't care.
Yeah. Well, probably on your deck, there's probably a few. There's probably a couple of sailors down, i.e. they're face down. You can see blood on them. There's probably a numerous with sort of like slight cuts or bite marks on them or anything like that. So yeah, what would you like to do?
My goal would be to try and start bringing them below deck. Because I think healing them out on the deck would be a very dangerous thing.
Okay, so it's going to have to be one of the people who are face down.
Yeah.
Darth says it's not worth your magic points, Bartleby.
Everybody is worth my magic points. Thank you very much. I'll heal innocent people. Okay
then, so let's say that you walk over to the nearest one. Make me a brawn roll as you try to heave this. Remember, it will be hard.
It's always hard. When it's Bartleby. Okay, so hard of that. I'll probably get this.
Oh! Point of luck will reverse it. And make it happen.
Yes, I'm going to go for it. I have 1 luck point left now.
Whoa! We're only 1 hour into the session.
Yep, we're gonna make sure.
Darth
joins the 1 point club.
Darth says, "Bartleby, I salute that, sir." Yeah, so you reach over, you sort of like grab this sailor by the feet, and you try to move it, and then you suddenly think, no, a better way to do it is probably underneath the arms and pull it, and so you sort of like take your luck with that, and you sort of like start to heave this sailor who's going like this, and as you pull, you can see that there's a bit of a blood smear. As you sort of like, you can probably make a pattern if you wish as you go, just whirl it around. So you'll
go home.
Just out of interest, when you get to the stairs, what's going to be your plan of action, Bartleby? Please
To-
say you're going to carry it, because I remember something really fun happening in the when Hengers.
That was actually a natural scratch on my head as well. It just perfectly timed.
Yeah.
Once I'm closer to the stairs, where I kind of feel a little bit more comfortable, even if the cover isn't much, it's going to be trying to analyze what injuries this person has, so that I can start trying to treat
Okay,
them.
then. So probably in the cover of the doorway, then, rather than
Yeah.
dragging him down the stairs, bumpity bumpity bump, or trying to lift
Yeah.
him.
I'm not. Bartleby's not strong. I need to pray for some strength first.
Okay, then. So you start to pull this guy over into the staircase area for further treatment. Okay, Gulliver, your spell will probably go off this turn. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, there's various things that I could even maybe target a rope or something if it's going too close to a rope or just part of the rigging.
Well, I think the rigging, your first idea would be the best, because you can actually probably take it out both ways. And so as the harpy is sort of like flying past it, it sort of like comes up and it hits it and almost like becomes tangled in it. How long does the spell last for?
The spell will last for 15 minutes.
Or until you cancel it?
Or until I cancel it.
Okay then. So the harpy sort of like swoops past
Shall
it.
I make my well, yeah.
Yeah. So you swoop past it, and he's sort of like you cast the spell, and the rigging goes either side.
Am I still at hard, or does my
everybody's at hard.
Oh, in which case I'll cancel my hold fast spell, because it's not helping at all. So I'll cancel that. Which I can do just as a free action, and then I'll use a point of luck to reverse those.
Right. So are both of them sustainable spells?
No, none of them are sustainable spells.
All right. So you're going to cancel the hold fast one, take that off, and yeah. So you sort of like make this rigging suddenly get much bigger and larger, and this harpy flies in. Now what I'm going to do is use your dice roll, and it's going to try to evade as it sort of like comes into action, but it fails on a 67-23, so it sort of like goes straight into the rigging and sort of like gets all bundled up in it, and so it's frantically, and it's probably one of those things that the more it flaps to try to get out, the more it's becoming entangled in it. Harpies come in next. So Hazra, out of the darkness in front of you, swoops a harpy, and it's coming down. It's not charging or anything, but it's going to try to take a chunk out of you. It misses altogether, but you can defend if you wish, and if you defend successfully.
I do. Defend successfully. So he's going to try to parry or push away, and he gets
nicely. 30 out of 68. Yeah, cool. So you will get one defensive.
That's right.
Those the ones that we never look at.
Yeah, I know. I'm just thinking. Range. Scaffold, takedown, fence. There was one that I really liked, but I think it's a proper crit, isn't it? Compel surrender. Could I use damaged weapon just to perhaps damage its feet, or would that be no?
But you damage the target's
I think
weapon.
I'm selling for weapon rather than.
Well, no.
feet, isn't it?
So everything.
How about trip opponent?
Well, you can damage weapon. Damage weapon is absolutely fine because it's the same as unarmed combat. It says in the rules, if it's using its claws, then on the weapon thing it says armor points and hit points the same as a leg. So
Right.
yeah. So is damage weapon both of them? Yeah, defender rolls weapons damage and applies it to the attacker's weapon. Yeah, so you need to roll your damage from your spear. Yeah. And you can add your damage modifier to it as well.
Which is 0, if memory serves me. Damage modifier, 0.
Okay.
Not very strong. So spear damage is 7.
7. So do you want left or right claw?
Let's go odds and even. No, just go left, because it's always left, isn't it?
Okay then. So left. So yeah. So you try it. Sort of like comes down legs thing, and you sort of like just duck slightly out the way, and as it goes by, probably you tell me how.
It's more of a reaction than anything else. He sees as he comes towards him, and it just lashes out his spear while leaning backwards, and just happens to catch the tip of his spear across the left foot of this thing, which then cuts into it.
Nice. So so it does have a bit of armor on there, but you still managed to do a nice wound on it, and it's now below its hit point, so it's got a serious wound. So I need to roll my endurance. Pathetic. It fails. So you notice that its left leg or left claw is sort of like limply being held now, and it sort of like recognizes that it's not doing well against this as well. They are harpies, and they're not that brave, and you see it after a well-worded attack, and somebody else says, "Nice one, mate," like this from behind you. Right, and then I think that was your that was an action point, but it was delayed, so that's fine. And Hengist, have you done your action yet today, this round?
Not this round, no.
Okay then. So
isn't it still Harpy's turn though, or no more Harpies?
Yeah, no, that's what I was going to do. So the Harpy flies down at you once again to try to allow, secretly, I think it's to try to allow you to engage, to show the captain what you're truly made out of as it flies down. It will miss you.
Hengist will attempt to make a parry.
Nice.
Despite that. And does.
Yes.
On a 42.
Nice. So what would you like to do?
It's going to be the same as Hasri. He's going to try and damage weapon and take whichever claw that it was being struck at. He's going to, so instead of parrying with the flat of the blade this time, he angles it just right and gets the perfect parry, and it just catches on the edge of the side of the blade.
So do your weapon damage, including your modifier if you have one.
I do have one, and I'm hoping it's rolling. That was a really bad roll.
Is that with your damage modifier?
Yeah, I got a 1 on my 1d10, and then I got 2 on my damage modifier.
So your strength actually did better than your thing.
I know.
So this sort of like clips the claw of it, but it doesn't really take it off. But don't worry, nobody else saw it. It just looked like you did a really
just parried. It's fine.
Good. A good parry. Right, and then we're going up into turn 3 for anybody who's got any combat action points left. Hazra.
I do. If there's any more harpies around, again,
you can throw your spear.
No, but thanks for asking.
Just make sure you throw it on board ship, and then if you miss, it will just land on the ship.
There's probably some harpies on the deck that pirates are dealing with, sailors are dealing with. Sorry. So if you would like to go over,
if that's the case, I will go over and try to finish him off. Saying that, he will tie some rope to the back of his spear in case he has to throw it.
I was going to say, are you going to tie it round yourself and run off and try to land on a harpy?
That's
Okay then, so you go over to the nearest sort of like hacking of a harpy. This could be a new passion, as well as heft lumping. It might be harpy hacking. Okay, roll your damage. Roll your
damage.
No,
hit,
well,
sorry.
yeah, roll that. To hit is fine. It's actually on the floor, so you automatically hit. But you don't.
Damage will be one of those.
5, yeah, and you sort of like join in the sailors as they sort of like kill them left, right, and centre. Bartleby, do you have any actions left?
I don't. I'm probably mid-dragging still.
Okay, brilliant. Gulliver on 14, do you have any actions left?
I do indeed. Can I assess the situation again to see how many harpies are still attacking from the air?
Yes, by all means. Roll your perception roll. Hengist.
No.
Hengist. No. Okay then. Hengist, do you have any?
So I'll
Okay then. Do you want to do an action? Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll reach into my tunic and I'll take out the disc that I used to cast my rack spell through.
Okay. Cool. So you take that out, ready to cast your rack spell, and harpies seem to be dissipating as they find that the majority of the sailors has sort of like taken them out, and there's a few that are limping back to the island, the sea stack in the distance. There's probably one maybe swoops down for you, but Hengist, you would have an opportunity if you wish. Do you have any actions left?
Hengist has one left.
So see whether or not you can actually, as it tries to fly away off the deck, let's see if you can actually impale it with your sword.
I was going to ask, would I be able to augment this? Because he's now trying to really impress the captain, so he wants to try and augment his swing with his famed warrior passion.
Normally I would say yes. However, the captain doesn't know you.
Fair enough.
And so he doesn't actually know you're a famed warrior yet. Once you've told your stories with Bartleby strumming along, beating along with his hand,
playing his
there you will be able to. So just a normal roll for this one.
I'm going to luck point it.
Already? And roll it again.
Can I get a second point of experience? My second fumble of the game for the same skill. No.
Did you augment? No, you kept the same. You just take it again. I'm sorry, you don't care. So maybe
you can't get more than one fumble experience.
Is this sort of like somebody take the sword off?
I think this is the universe telling Hengist that he should fight one-handed.
And it's so you sort of like, I imagine this, that you go and to swipe it, but you misjudged the timing of the harpy. You sort of like go dunk, and you sort of like bury your sword in this sort of like post here and goes boom, like that as it goes in. You sort of like wiggle it out slowly, looking around, making sure that nobody sees you. And as combat round 2 comes to an end, with the help of the other sailors, because remember there's numerous sailors up here, you sort of like the sailors dissipate and you can sort of like start to recover. And Bartleby, what spell would you like to cast?
I was actually intending to use minutes with my healing kit and bandage this guy up.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Let's roll. Is it first aid that you're doing?
I actually have the professional version of healing, if I may.
Ooh, yeah.
Heal teaches a lot of cool things.
Yeah,
take note.
Heal away. Stuff. This is still hard, though. Yeah, it doesn't bother you at all. You're sort of like, nope. Even though everybody's rocking, you still manage to go with that bandage and seal it up.
And you gives it a kiss as well.
Yeah, and you notice there's another sailor has come out, and he's wearing what was probably once a white apron, but is now very grey, and it has sort of like all blood splatters on it. And he sort of like comes out of these doors here. And he sort of like comes out, and you notice he's got some kind of cleaver sword that you figure he might have been amputating somebody beforehand, and he sort of like watches you as you bandage up this guy as he goes and grabs the other one, and he says, "There's more down below. I could use your help."
Bartleby will just nod, grab his backpack with the healer's kit, and move to follow this guy.
Yeah, and he says, "Here, hold this," and he throws you something. Could you make an athletics check, please, to catch it? Or you can
If it's the cleaver, I'm just going to flinch and turn away.
No.
Athletics. Oh, my.
Yeah, and he sort of like chucks you something, and you sort of it sort of like lands and you drop it, and you notice that a guy's hand that has obviously been taken off in the combat sort of like lies down and falls down the floor, and the guy says, "Just bring it down everywhere. Just make sure there's no dirt on it." Like this. So it's sort of like a hand like this on the floor that probably still sort of like twitching. Something that you've probably seen a few times, Bartleby. So do you wish to take it down below?
Yeah. Bartleby's gonna be tougher than Mr. Pickles here, and he'll grab the hand, grab his kit, and go to help out.
Okay. Can you just roll for me a healing skill again?
Hopefully, just as good.
Yes, yeah, 32 out of 37, a very good skill. So you're sort of like busying yourself down below. Just to let you know that there is, let me just do this for you. Oops, nearly. I'm going to reveal the bit that you're missing here. And so this part here, let me just click on that. This part here is some kind of hospital area, and this one seems to be something like, this is almost like triage, and this is sort of like main surgery. You know, and so anybody who's generally missing a limb or missing something or have an extra something like a sword in them, that's where they're being. There's various sailors, and they're quite a tough bunch, but some of them go, and you're sort of like busying yourself with bandages. Every now and again you sort of like look around, and the ship's doctor says, "Take this, lad," and throws you sort of like a linen cloth or some description, and you sort of like use it thinking it looks a little bit like a petticoat, but you still sort of like wrap it round. So Bartleby, you're down there. Hazra, what are you going to be doing?
Hazra is taking stock of the situation and making sure there's no more Harpies coming in, and just maintaining with these other sailors here where he is, and just holding back, spear and watching.
Yeah, and you sort of like, you finish off the harpy that everybody's killing, and you sort of like look around, and the sailors are looking around, and they can see the few harpies. They seem to be fleeing rather than doing a controlled retreat. Some seem to be heading off into sea, and some seem to be heading to the actual sea stack, and everybody's sort of like, the sailor goes, "Yeah!" like this, and one of them comes over to you and he says, how you doing? He says, "My name is Dan." And sort of like,
hello there, Dan, and my name is Hazra.
Hazra.
I just come on board this ship. It's very, very daunting.
I'm glad that you know how to use that. And he looks at your spear. He says, thank you for your help.
No problem. It's part of my father, this spear. It has the spirit inside.
Yeah. He says, "This is my harpoon. The only thing that's inside this is, well, probably some harpy guts now. And that's it."
Hazra will clap him on the back and say, "Good fellow. You are the pride to your people."
Thank you, mate. Well, let's make sure we have some rum later on, yeah?
I think that would be a tremendous idea.
And he sort of like points across to the back of this ship and says, "Captain Jack's down there. You might want to report to him. He likes to keep an eye on everybody who's on board ship.
Hazra will bow and then...
Oh, no need to bow for me, mate. We are common folk all the same. I am not common, Hazra said.
I'm way beneath you. Yeah, and Hazra again will nod and then move off to Captain Jack.
Okay, so Hengist, you sort of like Captain Jack sort of says, "Well done, lad. You obviously can hold your sword and are developing your combat skills." And he sort of like finds a harpy on the ground and sort of like puts his foot on it and uses the harpy wings to clean his sword and dagger before he whirls them round a little bit in both hands and then reverse slices them back into the sheath. And he puts his hand there and said, "Captain Jack, nice to have you aboard."
Hengist, and thank you. That was a nice.
I thought you were going to say Lord Hengist of House Galot. Lovely to be here.
Not yet.
Yeah, well done, Sir Hengist. Well done. Nice lot of armour there. And he reaches out and he goes, "Duh, duh, duh, duh." He says, "Make sure you don't fall in."
Yes, I was being very careful and staying well away from the sides.
Yeah, and he comes a little bit closer. You can smell that chewed tobacco smell from his mouth and a couple of rotting teeth. And he says, "Don't worry, I won't tell anybody about the post."
Most kind. Hengist says, sheathing his sword, having wrenched it out of the woodwork.
Yeah, excellent. And Gulliver, what are you going to do?
Gulliver was preparing a spell. He was preparing a rack spell.
So you can cancel that now, if you wish.
All right, I won't cast that then, and I'll cancel the spell on the enlarged spell.
Brilliant,
as well.
and the rigging will go back to its normal size. Anything else you would like to do?
No, that's it.
Okay then. So you sort of like stand there, and the steerer of the ship, the quartermaster, sort of like turns to you and says, "Well done, lad. Some fine bit of spell casting. I wanted to be in the Blue Order, you know, but I don't actually have the skill for it. There's not an ounce of magic flows through this blood, I tell you."
Gulliver will say, "Well, yeah, that would put you at a bit of a disadvantage to be a sorcerer.
But you can serve the Order in a number of ways, and this is my way."
Indeed.
"Yeah, well done. Nice to chat with you. You might want to report to Captain Jack. He's the person in charge of the ship. He likes all people to report to him."
Okay.
Is Gulliver going to Captain Jack or not?
Yeah, I'll go if it's my turn. Yeah. He'll go up and he'll say, "Hello, I'm Gulliver. I've been sent by the Order of the Kraken."
He says, "Welcome on board, lad. Well done. Glad to hope you enjoy my ship."
How long will it be before we reach the island?
He sort of like points over and he sort of like says, "Look, only a couple of hours. Once we get the rigging up and we set sail, and we probably might have to row ourselves in the last couple of meters, but no, we'll get there. Apparently there's some kind of jetty there that we're hopefully going to send the longboat with you all in, if that's all right."
Have you been to the island before?
No. We came on in strict instructions. A messenger bird brought us news from the Order back in Lindo and told us to set sail for this and to expect you and your company.
Right. Okay. Well, as soon as you can get us there and drop us off. Because, well, we want to be heading back.
He said, "Yeah, not a problem." He says, once we get closer, we can send out the long ship with you, the longboat. If you can't row yourself," he turns to you, Hengist, "if you can't row yourself, I'm sure we can find a couple of sailors to do their stuff for you." And then probably at this time, Hazra, you appear up, and he sort of like says, "Welcome aboard, sir."
Well, thank you, sir. And he'll take his hand in like a warrior's clasp, where he grabs his wrist. Yeah, there, you've got it, wrist to wrist.
Strong
and
grip you have there. You must be a warrior of some renown.
I'm not as powerful as Mr. Hengist over here.
I thought you were going to say Mr. Bartleby.
Mr. Hengist, who is very renowned with his sword. But I try my best, my friend. I try my best.
That's all that we can ask of people. Try your best. That's how I got in charge of this whole ship. And he sort of like looks around and he says, hang on, he says, I was told there would be 4 of you. Did you lose somebody in transport?
No, Mr. Bartleby is helping with your injured, I would have thought, because he's a very gentle person who likes to heal people.
Right. Quartermaster Doc, take us to the island. Weigh anchor a short distance away. Try to keep us steady in this wind, and we can then send out the rowboat. Let us 3 go down and see your Mr. Bartleby. And he sort of like ushers you down to here. And the captain seems very keen to go down as well. You figure that he's really... Hengist, you sort of like see him very much as a noble leader who takes care and interest in his sort of like his sailors, as if it's one big family. And you can see that he generally feels quite sorry for any sailor that has passed away, and makes comments like, oh, I knew his dad, or his young sister is really going to miss him. Oh, he was a fine warrior, sailed for me for many years. And it's almost like knows each one of these people individually, as if he's been with this ship for a huge amount of time. So we're coming up to past, so we can have our break. Is there anything that anybody would like to do while he's doing all of this? No? Brilliant. Yeah, go for it.
Well, Hazra was more keen on watching the where we're going. So, but if he's been taken down below deck, he won't be able to worry. So, no, his whole idea was watching the way we approach this spire.
Yeah, so you can go up on deck if you wish and make your apologies.
And I will. So I need to go up on deck to see where we are going and how we are approaching. And with that, he will bow, he will walk out, he'll go to the front of the deck, and what he's looking for is anything in the base of this spire as we approach it, just any sort of telltale features.
Yeah.
Of the thing.
Okay then. So as you make your excuses and leave Captain Jack says, "Don't worry, Hazra. Don't worry." He says, "It takes you a while to get your sea legs. I know, closed spaces. You keep up on deck. Let the wind fly through your hair for a while. Make a perception roll from where you are, but this will be formidable." It's the day of fumble.
Oh, I shall put a little tick in that, shall I?
Yeah.
Yes.
How many fumbles?
We're
And you sort of like
3 so far.
You look ahead, but with the turmoil of the rocking of the ship and the clouds,
the sail whipping in front of my eyes.
Yeah, you don't, as you get up there, all of a sudden a wave breaks on the bow and sort of like sprays up, and you sort of like get salt in your eyes and all like that. Excellent. So we are going to.
So Hengist will say to the captain and Bartleby and the ship surgeon, and say, "Although I am no healer, I am no stranger to the aftermath of battle. I'll help any way he can." So then he'll help, whether it's giving sailors water from like a cup, or if a sailor's having to sort of be operated on, he'll help hold them down.
Does he have any? Well, you'll have
first aid.
You'll have first aid. So
he's not doing medical stuff. He's literally if he's taking water to or food to an injured sailor, or if there's someone who has to be held down, he'll hold the limb down and stuff like that. So he's not actually, he's helping, but he's not doing any medical stuff.
Okay, then. So you're sort of
Because he
like
doesn't know how to do that.
being directed by the people.
Yeah, he's happy to help out as needed.
Yeah, I don't think there needs to be a role for that. So you sort of like, Bartleby, you're busy bandaging, and Captain Jack sort of like looks across at you quite, almost like admiration of a great leader, and sort of like things. That's what a great leader would be doing, getting into the nitty gritty of things. And you see him sort of like, you see this as well, Bartleby. You see him sort of going, yes. Very good. Hey, Gulliver, is there anything that you would like to do?
No, nothing, no.
Okay, then. So with that, then, we will take our 10-minute break. We're going to have a 10-minute break, and then we will be back with further action. So we should be back at 44 minutes past, or sort of like 16 minutes to the hour. So please do. We hope you're enjoying it so far. Please do come back and see what happens as the party now reaches the sea stack that has the dark tower on top of it. And that's very, well, how are they going to get up to the top? Has yet to find out. But there will be some rolls involved. So,
Harpy.
Yeah, we will see you all soon. And yes, and we are back, so refreshed and got a nice cup of coffee, so we can move on. So we left the party on the ship, and they are sort of like helping out. And Hazra's up at the top, not seeing a lot because the wind and rain and spray is sort of like kicking up into his face. Hengist and Bartleby are sort of like dealing with the injured. And Juggerwugger, would Gulliver just be sat there? You said he was doing nothing. Would he stay in the room or would he go somewhere else?
He'll probably just stay in the room.
Okay, and Gulliver just sort of like stands propped up against one of the pillars, sort of like observing what is going round. And Captain Jack sort of like stays down for a while and sort of like I say, sort of like engages with his crew. And it's about 10-15 minutes when you hear a cry from up on the deck. That's almost like saying land ahoy, or captain to the bridge. And he sort of like heard you up and sort of like says to Hengist and Bartleby, you need to leave them now. We need to get you onto this ship. Have we lost Mr. Pickles?
We have.
Oh no. Well, he's still connected. He's just turned into a cat.
In a prison jumper.
Yeah.
Wow.
Meow. And Hazra, you can, up on the top deck, you sort of like look out and you can see, even without a perception roll now, you can see the sea stack. There's almost like pillar of rock just going straight up into the air. You can see on top of the rock, on top of the sea stack, is the Black Tower, which stands up to its name. It is black. It's about 2 stories high, you can see, and it appears to be rectangular in shape. Just make a perception roll for me. It's still at hard because of the tossing waves.
So 34.
Yeah,
well,
and
61.
There's 2 things that you notice now that you're closer. The first thing, as you look up, as the party's scout, as you look up, the first thing that you notice that there's no lights on in the tower. There's no flickering torchlight. It's quite dark out here. So you would expect to be lights if there was light, but there seems to be nothing like that. The other thing that you notice is that there is I think he's going to text me because my windows have just gone kaput.
Oh yeah, he's dropped out completely now.
Cat bumps, my computer Zoom stops responding. I've hit rejoin, but I need...
Oh, right.
Waiting room.
He must be in the waiting room.
Roll a D20, please.
Oh, that one. You got distracted by
admit, Mr. Pickles. There you go. Mr. Pickles is back.
I'm back. Sorry about that.
No, not a problem. Just kill the cat.
Not
What's
today.
the thing to say?
Not today.
Let's have a Budgie and cat fight.
Let's just.
Budgie, are you ready?
Let's put your pictures back, and I'll just do the big one before we start, so I know everybody's in the right place there as well. Oh, I moved the overlay and showed the magic.
He's revealed his secret.
And that one there, and then just trim this one down. Cool. So welcome back, Mr. Pickles. So we were just saying, Mr. Pickles, that the Captain Jack is taking you up on deck, and I was just describing what Hazra could see of the Dark Tower. What you can see now is that there seems to be a small wooden pier that is down at the base, and then you can see what appears to be almost like a rickety series of steps going up up and zigzagging up with small balconies. You figure it's only about one person wide, and from this distance, it just looks like it is so rickety that it's going to be quite interesting getting up there. Captain Jack, you can hear Captain Jack talking, Hazra. You're quite welcome to come back and join the party or stay up there. And he sort of like starts giving you all instructions. And he sort of like says, now he says, obviously we can't keep the Kraken here this close to the island, especially with this wind and this rain. So the idea is that we will lower the rowboat and we will get you to the island, and then we will move the Kraken safely offshore. We suggest that the boat stays where it is. Is anybody proficient in any form of seacraft with you?
Alas, not. We don't have the best ability with boats.
He says, no problems. He says, Hengist, I know your true prowess lies with your sword, if nothing else. And he sort of like winks a little bit at you, Hengist, as if to say, it's secrets this between you and I. He says, I'll send 2 sailors with you, and they can stay down at the jetty, and then they'll be there ready to bring you back up. Is there any provisions you'll need or anything like that? He's going vaguely Scottish the more I talk. Seems good then. You should be...
Sorry. As far as I'm aware, my friend, we are fully equipped for what we need to do by the looks of it. We provisioned ourselves before we left.
Okay.
So thank you for your offer.
Not a problem at all. Tell me, do you have any questions or anything I can help you with before you set off? If I have any valuable information, then I'm happy to share it with you.
Yes, if you please, sir. Are there any lower entrances into the tower, or do we have to scale the tower itself?
Damn fine question, Hazra. No, and we've never been here. We've done a wide circle of the island. It seems that the only way up is that ladder, I'm afraid.
No, I do not like heights, but fair enough. And is there any? Have you noticed any? We have seen the Harpies, but perhaps are there anything else here? I mean, Gulliver, do you have any questions you wish to ask? Because this is your tower, really, isn't it?
Questions to ask the captain. I did ask whether or not he'd been here before, and he said no. So I think it's all new to us.
All right, okay, Gulliver, thank you.
And Captain Starlight says, one thing Gulliver lad might have wanted to query about is this storm. You might have seen that it's quite unusual. High winds, flash lightning, no lightning strike, no rain. Well, I can only say to you that rumour is that this storm lurks in this area constantly. And he sort of like looks at you, Bartleby, and says, yes, constantly. It could be some kind of weird magic or some elemental phenomena that we have no idea, but it's constantly like this. It never changes. Most ships give it a wide berth, hence, Master Gulliver, why we've not been before. It took us quite a while to just sail the small distance that we've made towards the island, to be honest with you. It almost like seemed as if the wind and the lightning was trying to persuade us not to come any further.
Captain Jack, then why would anybody ever want to live here?
Well, he sort of like looks up at the black tower. He says, I haven't got a foggiest. Believe me. All I know is that those harpies must have been nesting on that rock. I'm surprised they didn't lure us there with their sweet singing.
How many harpies generally nest together? I don't think I've ever read any stories on them.
He says, do you know what a seagull is?
Yes.
Have you seen a colony of seagulls shitting all over a rock? Well, there's not much difference between a colony of seagulls and a colony of harpies. Oh, apart from harpies tend to sing now and again and lure people to their deaths. Nothing to be worried about.
Hopefully not. We will be protected by my goddess Amriel, of course.
Of course. And may the sea gods protect you as well, until you are once more on dry land, of course.
Thank you. I appreciate your sentiments.
Well, good luck. And please, we will only wait up to 3 to 4 days. If you're not back by then, the sailors will have strict instructions to head back without you. We will not be launching a rescue. I've checked with Gulliver's mentor, and once you get on the island, you're on your own. Is that understood?
Totally, sir. Which throws my idea out of the window of staying here for 2 weeks and getting paid a lot of money.
Oh, Hazra, if you ever want to join a company of sailors, then you will be well welcome on the Kraken. I'm sure you'll fit in very well.
But thank you, sir.
Especially with that humour.
Yes.
Anything else?
I think we are good. Are we good to go?
I'm ready.
Excellent. Well, let's get you into that longboat then. And the longboat's been brought to one side, and you sort of like have to climb down, almost like a wet rope, with wooden slats on it, and you sort of like climb down and land in the longboat. The longboat is quite long. It has 3 sets of seats in it. Well, not seats, boards in there. The 2 sailors occupy the front, the middle one, because they're doing the rowing. You can either sit at the front or the back. So what will be people's preference? If we assume, just hang on, I've got some water that I'm going to put you on. Let me just move. I just need to move this down. Probably see a bit of the water already. Now go back onto that layer.
So it's 2 abreast. It's one by each side of each other, is it?
Yeah. So
one of the ones to sit next to Bartleby.
So if you imagine the boat is like that. So there's one here, and one here. So this is where the sailors are sat. Okay, so you can move. So Bartleby and Gulliver, are you going front or back?
We'll sit so that we're facing the island.
Yeah, so front or back, either one is be. Hazra's in the front, so that's fine. So
yeah, I was going to say back.
Yeah,
I don't want to get water in my face.
No, and the now, does anybody want to? You do have the option, if you so desire, to support the rowers. You do have some of you do all have a boating skill. It's in the standard skill. So you can row.
Help.
You can have 2 people on each oar if that's what you need. If you are successful in your boating skill, you will row the boat quicker to the island. If you fail, it'll just take you longer. There's no chance of capsizing at this moment. Does anybody want to? Who was it based on? Who's got a good strength and con? I think the spellcasters are out of it.
Do you know what? I'm going up my 5% to the my 2.3. It's 5%, isn't it?
It should be. Are you? Well, what you're going to do? You're going to roll your roll.
Yeah. So let me just do my I'm augmented. I don't need to roll.
Yeah. No. So what you're going to do, because you need an opportunity to see whether or not you are good or bad. whether or
I'm
not
back.
you're critical. So what we're going to do is that rather than augment somebody else's roll, well, that would be telling you,
Okay.
it's sort of like training them to do it. You know.
I'll roll. Here we go.
Okay then, cool.
Man, I tell you what.
He's
No.
going to do it. He's
No,
going to
I'm
do
not,
it.
I'm not, because it's not his character. Just like, he's not going to.
So you
Yeah,
sort of
a couple
like
of times.
you get alongside one of the sailors and start to, and after a while he sort of says, "Keep watch out, Hazra." You know.
Yes, my friend.
And
And he's like bouncing. He's trying to keep time, but every time he does it, he bounces into his chest.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it's like
the
no,
boat's going like this, sort of like a
Yeah.
little bit forward and a little bit
a little
back.
bit like, and he's like, oh,
Yeah.
Boat's
So, yes,
moving,
it's
not
like-
the oar. I think that's what you're doing wrong there, Hasra.
Yeah.
So Hazard will then release the oar and walk, scutter to the.
And,
the
and you all
front
notice that as soon as Hazra leaves the boat, the rowing to the expert, the whole boat starts to move a lot easier towards the pier. And eventually you do get to the pier and the boat is tied up. And the sailors say to you, 2 days. And that's it. We're leaving. Understand?
Understood.
Okay, that sounds good to me. And you sort of like get out onto this rickety pier. And when I say a rickety pier, it really is a rickety pier. There seems to be parts of wood, the planks that are completely gone in places. It looks like it's fallen through altogether, and some of the vertical poles are actually being smashed off and sort of like completely missing. And as soon as you step on the pier, you more so, Hengist, when you step on it, it's all like
He
goes
probably steps on there with a like half flinch.
yeah, it's all like
as
goes
he steps on it.
like this, and it seems incredibly moist.
Hengist is gonna give, after sort of like making sure he's stood firmly on like a firmish bit, he's going to sort of like try and guess how, or have a look to see if he can work out how deep the water is there.
Okay,
As in if it's like 2 people high or 3 people
Yeah, make
high,
it-
or
make-
if he fell in, if he could stand up and
make an
Basically,
insight
he's
roll
gonna
for
sink.
me.
Oh, Hengist is dead if he falls in. He's gonna be very careful.
Yeah, you sort of like you can't actually see the bottom over down the side at all. You rather think that it's a deep.
It's very deep.
deep-
So Hengist is now going to be very careful, even more careful than he would have been. So he's literally sort of like testing every footstep to make sure it can hold his weight
Yeah.
before he goes on to the next one, because he doesn't want to fall in.
Yeah,
Not in
you
his
sort of
full
like
armour.
Hengist probably goes first, sort of like testing it, because I mean, if it's going to carry Hengist, it's going to carry anybody, and you sort of like go along, and it seems to be unstable, and in places it definitely seems to be rotten, but you manage to make your way to the bottom of the ladder. Now, when I say ladder, what it actually is a piece of rope that is tied to the bottom that zigzags up. Okay, and on each piece on the piece of rope there's a board. Okay, so you actually walk on the board. So 2 pieces of rope, and then you walk on the board. So it's a bit like a rope ladder, but it's at an angle. Does that make sense? And then you sort of like run. You can put one hand against the cliff, and one hand sort of like balancing out if you wish, but there's nothing on one side. It's only kept up in places by a beam that comes out of the cliff and sort of like props it up. So it loops like this as it goes down. So probably the best. Hazra, roll your survival skill.
Hazard's just shaking his head.
You know, that's right. You're off the boat now, so you're not at hard. So you figure what you actually do is put your back to the wall and sort of like go up crab-like. Does that make sense? And sort of like put your feet.
Sorry, the mouthful of biscuits. So yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Put your feet on it and carefully climb. Is there anything that anybody would like to do before you set off up?
Yes.
Gulliver's going to say, you think Thornbury lied to us? He said he was. He said he was collected from the island by a passing ship, but Captain says that, well, everybody in the region gives this island a wide berth because the storm's constantly there, and with the Harpies as well.
Maybe he had a longboat of his own, or the island had a longboat, and he left on that, and then he was picked up from being sailing adrift. Maybe.
Still deceptive.
Very deceptive.
It is. It's very. I do not like him anyway because he wears that black robe, and you know my feeling about them. We've met them before.
Did anybody insight him while he was in?
No. Angus didn't.
Cool. That might have been a good time, but anyway.
I thought. No, Gulliver did when he was doing the insight on his honesty.
Got ya. Yeah, and I think he passed it.
Oh, no, didn't. I don't think he did. I remember wrong.
Right.
Anyway.
But I'm not. I don't think. And when he was saying his story. Anyway, so anybody else would like to do anything? Any actions that you would like to do?
Yes.
Yes, Bartleby.
Like right before we're getting ready to go up onto this rope ladder, Bartleby is going to.
You cast levitation at you.
Amriel, just get me to the finish line. No, I want to pray. I know that this isn't really how the spell works per se, but this is how Bartleby would think it might work.
Okay, got
Since he
nice.
he's
Yeah.
He's going to pray for strength, and that's the one thinking. Who knows?
Okay.
Would that be allowed?
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. So, oh, critical. So that takes no magic points.
Amriel, give me strength.
So just add your power into your strength, and suddenly Bartleby becomes an expert rower.
Bring back the boat.
Okay. Anybody like to do anything else before we?
Hazra is more checking out these steps, these pieces of wood tied between rope.
Oh yeah.
He wants to make sure that they are safe. That if you do lean against the wall and you're pushing out these pieces of wood, aren't going to shoot out the end.
Okay.
He's more worried about there's nowhere to put your right hand. If you
right. Can you roll your perception? But can you augment it with your survival skill, please?
Okay.
So just roll the augment roll first and then add it on.
Which is 76.
Trombones let the big play. 16%.
So 6%. So I'll put my temporary on my survival. Oh, it's a perception, sorry, wasn't it?
Perception, yeah.
Yep, so temp of 16. And then roll.
Oh!
With another 3.
What is
what
it
are
with
the chances?
Now you
3
just
chances.
Hengist is sort of like saying, right, I'm going to roll my climbing
hit my
up.
sword.
Yeah.
Hit my sword. Oh.
Hengist wants to make his roll now to climb the mountain because 3
no.
3s would be.
Hengist doesn't. The last time we had 2 crits in a row, Hengist got a fumble.
Oh yes, that would be cool. Okay,
You can't have 3 fumbles in one night. You'll be okay.
Hengist, it's really. I'm sorry, Hazra. It's really interesting when you look at it.
I'm jinxed.
It's really interesting when you look at it. You notice that the wood that's attached to the rope and the beams and that's holding it up, they seem to be quite stable. They seem to be less moisture rotting than the actual pier, and this is probably because it is out of the liquid. It's out of the liquid. However, there's something that you do see on almost like every single step. And every single step seems to have very small boreholes in it. And this is something that you sometimes see in the wilderness when some kind of parasitic insect or larvae is sort of like burrowing into wood.
Yes,
They
woodworm.
often pupate there. And then, do you have a law nature skill?
I do have a law nature skill.
Could you roll it for me, please?
I can certainly try. No, it's probably a dragon.
Yeah, so I think you as a player probably know what it is, but you're not familiar.
No, I have a clue.
Yeah, you've seen this before, but you know it's some kind of infestation. But
No, it's the way the wood breathes.
yeah, well, no, you probably know it's something kind of,
Yeah.
but you don't know what it is.
What? No,
But
it's a weakness in the wood.
yeah, and once you see it on the wood, you sort of like look round the pier, and you see more of it. You figure whatever, some kind of larvae is infestating all this area. It doesn't look good, although it looks quite stable.
Yeah. I'll go first.
Milky Ink is just saying, nice drawing of a boat. Thank you. See, you knew it was a boat, which means it has to be good.
Yes, and not what I thought it was.
Yeah, don't.
Tombstone, isn't it? Just on
Do
its
not
side.
mention Grandma at all at this point. Okay then, so what's going to be your plan, your tactics for climbing up the side of this sea stack?
Azra feels that he should go first because at least then that way there'll be less wear on the steps as it goes up. Gulliver possibly second as well, and then Bartleby, and then Hengist, bring at the rear. But Hengist, this should be a stupid suggestion. He's going to try and tie. He's going to ask if Hengist, would you like me to tie some rope against? No. If you fall, I fall with you.
You could use him as a ledger to go fishing with.
As Azra's talking to Hengist, Gulliver's going to say to Bartleby,
Does the sight of Amriel reveal anything to you, Bartleby?
Bartleby, use witch sight.
Sight of Amriel reveals all. And actually, that is a valid concern. If this is a wizard's isle with the Order of the Lich here, they may have some dangers on this ladder of sorts.
Yeah.
I would like to put on my magic eyes.
Good idea.
Amriel, let me swing my arms for a bit.
Yes, yeah, 69 out of 77. Good roll. Okay then, so several things that you notice. The first thing, apart from the normal magical items that players have got, or magical abilities they've got, sorry, the actual pier and the ladder is completely, and the sea stack itself is completely non-magical. There's no essence of magic there. It is just pure mundane goodness. That's all it is.
I want to reassure Gulliver there. It's completely devoid of magic. There are no traps that'll burn our fingers off.
But there's always a but. The clouds above you are humming with magic. If anything, they almost like have had that ultraviolet glow to them. As you look up, you sort of like start looking down, you look up the ladder, and as you go up the ladder, you see the sky, and all that cloud and the lightning is all pulsing with almost like wild magic. It doesn't look like theist spells. It doesn't look like miracles. It just seems to be some kind of magic that is let loose. It almost looks like a chaotic field that is just folding in on itself and stretching out again and crackling with this lightning all the time. It's whatever it is, Bartleby, it's a whole lot of power. And it's a whole load of magical power.
Gulliver, is it possible that magic just grows in places naturally? Or is it only accidents that would leave distinct magical auras? Because when I had the vision of the necromancer, I believe, he only left traces.
Ocean is full of these weird storms. We encountered one as we were coming across. Me and Hengist. There was almost like a carpet in the middle as well. That's where we met Mistress Nico. But I don't know of any magic that can cause a storm like this or this size or magnitude.
Well, other than that boiling storm of destruction above us, we should be safe from.
And are you trying to say that with confidence?
Yes, but I'm assuming it automatically fails with Bartleby's.
Well, you can roll a deceit roll.
Okay.
Because I don't think you actually believe it. so use it, Bartleby saying, don't worry, it will be fine. No one will
safe.
You're totally safe. No one will slip on a ladder rug and fall and drown in the turmoil that is the sea below us.
Do you know, Hengist and Bartleby, if only we had some way to see around this thing, to see the ladder as we go up without actually going up there, that would be amazing.
I could ask for Amriel to give a vision, but I'm afraid that it won't be of anything related to this.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's just a wishful thinking on my behalf.
It's just it could have been nice for Amriel to have made us a handrail. That would make me feel a lot better.
I've learned through Amriel that her essence can repair things to their the state they were once in. But my training at this point, and I am just an initiate, so I have to do it per step, I think. And
I wasn't being serious, Bartleby. It's fine. It was wishful thinking.
But maybe if there is a step, I could call upon Amriel to repair that. If there was one that we were missing.
Or if you give me a day or two, I can make a really solid staff to walk with as you go up.
Okay, so tactics for climbing up. I think we can have some kind of order to start off with. You bought plenty of rope. Are you tying people together? Are you tying people onto something? Are you just carrying the rope? Weapons, I assume, will be sheathed in some fashion, so you have both hands. You look around and there's no wyvern flying around.
Oh, God, yeah.
Not this time.
But also there's nobody with you to take a pot shot at you, unless you want to encourage try to influence one of the sailors to come up with you. So if a wyvern comes, you can just say, sorry, and just push them off.
Sorry, no wyverns today. Well, Hasher's going to be going up there with he's got his spear out, and he'll be going first. He'll be trying the first step. He'll be putting his spear on the step before, and he'll be literally going one step up.
Okay, got
move
you.
Up, spear, and balancing himself with his spear so he doesn't fall forward.
Okay, so you're not tied to anyone.
Well, I was thinking about this. Hasher's strength isn't his forte. And if he ties himself to anybody, it would be Gulliver, because he could probably cope with Gulliver's weight, and that would be it. So maybe Gulliver he would tie himself to, but that's down to Gulliver. I couldn't tie myself to Hengist, which I wanted, because he would pull.
In which case, because Hengist could probably pull both of you.
Yes.
So you could tie yourselves together as long as you're in the right order, because if Hengist was first, if he fell, there's 3 of you ready to hold the rope as he swings round.
Yeah, onto the low bit.
Upside down.
So
I can see my house from here.
yes. So let me remove the boat. Everybody, I'm so pleased that people in the stream, some people in the stream actually recognised it as a boat. I'm dead
What's the sort of distance going from the base of this stack up to the top where the tower is?
Distance for what?
Would we have enough rope to drop it down from the top and arrive down the bottom of the stack?
How much 50 metres of rope do you have?
I don't have any
20.
rope.
You have 20.
Hengist has 2 lengths of 10 and a grappling hook.
Okay.
I have 110.
I have 110 and grappling hook.
So 40 metres. No.
So 10 metres short.
It's not going to reach to the bottom.
Okay.
Does that mean you won't get splat?
Well, you won't go splat. You'll go wee, break your legs.
Yeah.
Okay then.
Break your back.
So let's take this one step at a time. Okay then. So let's get the all. Well, are you going to tie yourselves together?
Who's the best climber?
Remember, climbing is via your athletics roll.
Athletics, yes. I believe I'm very adept at climbing things, Gulliver. Even though I grew up in the flat plains, I've done many climbing things, chasing goats for villagers. So yes.
Maybe you should go climb up far halfway and then anchor the rope.
You'll be able to climb up halfway, Hazra, and anchor the rope to the rickety wooden stone, if that's what you wish to do.
Yeah, the thing is, Gulliver, it's a stairwell held up by rope. I don't know how this is an amazing feat of ingenuity, but I don't trust it. I can climb up by myself, but you could go up. Bartleby could come up, but Hengist, in all his armour, I'm a little bit worried. Maybe he should leave some bits behind, perhaps. I don't know. Maybe you could talk him into this.
But wouldn't it be safer if he had if he was helping him, if he had a rope to hold on to, and if it did cave in, he could then just hold on to the rope and just.
Gulliver, I do not know what is up ahead. Okay, if I could see some way, if I had a way to see what is up ahead, that would be wonderful. But I don't. I don't know what is up ahead. I'm going by my own instincts. I mean, I can go up and try to go up as far as I can and come back and tell you what is there.
I think we need to be practical about this, and we may not know what's ahead, but we know that we have strength in numbers here, and I'll call upon the strength of Amriel to give me the greater strength to be able to help us all pull up any of us who fall. I say we tie each other up to the ropes so that we're all connected, and if one of us fails, the rest of us can help pull up.
Bartleby's
all
looking,
of us together plus Amriel.
When you look at Bartleby, you notice that he's looking pretty buff at the moment. He's sort of like his normal sort of like limp hanging robes are really sort of like full out.
Suddenly padded, yeah.
Yeah. What's your strength?
In the Matrix.
Hengist, what's your strength?
Hengist's strength's not amazing. Hengist is only 13 strength.
What's Bartleby's strength at the moment?
Normally it's 10, but for intensive purposes of lifting or whatnot under bronze skill, it is a 24.
Oh!
Since my power is a 14. but just have to be clear, that doesn't affect my strength for like.
Hengist is on like a.
Hengist is thinking, can you stack this spell? So can you put 2 might spells on you and then have.
No.
Amriel's grace doesn't work that way.
Okay then, so tying yourselves together will actually decrease the difficult grade of the skill needed because you are providing each other with some kind of support. However, if somebody fails and falls off, okay, which is a 2-step occurrence, so you will roll your athletic skills. If somebody fails that, somebody's fallen off, and then you roll another athletics roll to clamber onto something, while the two people or the one person next to you roll brawn rolls to keep hold of it. If, say, for example, the person fails to grab the wood and the person with the brawn roll fails as well, then they then get pulled over the side and there's two people, one hanging on. So, but it does make your athletic skills, rather than being standard, it will make them easier.
I don't have a problem going alone.
Well, we work to better as a community here, so.
I'm more than happy to agree with that. With that part of it, I think it is best that if one falls, then the rest can help them, rather than one falling and one dying.
Four falls and all fall. No. Okay.
Okay,
We'll
so
take it
you could
slow and steady.
you could tie yourself one-on-one, so there's just two partners. Does that make sense? Or you can tie you all together, so you're all connected. Or you can do any alteration, three tied together, one person.
Let's tie us all together. I'll go first.
Okay.
And we'll check the way, and we'll do that way.
So
We're in this together, and Hazra's got this loyalty to the group that he won't let them die. So
that's very noble of you. So Hazra is going first. Who's going second?
I think for the proper weight distribution, based on how heavy we all look to Bartleby, it should be me next.
Okay. And then whom?
Gulliver bring at the rear.
That's what I was thinking. Have the lightest person on the end.
Great minds think alike. Okay, so you sort of like start going up this rickety wooden rail, and you suddenly become aware that this is a difficult climb. You know, how anybody would actually climb up and down here confidently all the time is beyond you. Plus, if the so-called if Azio is actually elderly, he could never make this climb. I mean, even how old is everybody? I know Gulliver's the youngest.
Hengist is in his 30s.
Yeah, so Hengist, you can make the climb, but you figure anybody above 50, 60 would find it really difficult. Okay then.
Hengist will sort of like shout above whatever wind there is and say, perhaps this is not used anymore. Perhaps they just use the portal.
That would probably be the case. Yeah. Hengist brings out this wonderful thought of insight.
That is why we're here.
Hazra's fallen to sleep. No, he's up. He's making notes. Do not tie together. Okay then, so let's make some rolls, shall we? Hazra, would you like to go first? Could you just roll your athletics roll?
I certainly can. This one bites me in the backside.
Okay, so remember it's at easy. So
Yep.
you're going
Sometimes
up.
in 108.
You're going up absolutely fine. Bartleby, you're next. Athletics roll, please. An easy.
I really wish that my might was to athletics instead of just brawn, but here we go. Fallen in grace.
Okay.
Can I use my? Oh no, go for it.
Yeah, you can use a point of luck if you wish.
I was going to save that point of luck for when I fall, and this is the time. So I want to give a quick reroll, even though
Quick re-roll then. Go for it.
it's not gonna work.
Oh,
you know it's not gonna work.
So Bartleby, you almost like totter on the edge, and Hazra, you sort of like look back and sort of like give him a quick yank on the rope
trying to
and
go, "Oh."
bring him flat up against the wall. Okay then. Next comes Hengist. Hengist is like, so everybody's going up.
It's not
absolutely
the
fine.
end of the night, is it? No, it's fine. Got 30 minutes.
And Gulliver, are you going to use a point of luck to reroll? No.
No.
Do you have any luck left?
I do.
Okay then, but you're not going to use it.
No.
Okay then, so Gulliver falls off the edge of the the step and sort of like falls down, and suddenly the rope goes taut as Gulliver sort of like falls over. Hengist, can you make a brawn roll for me, please?
Can Hengist use his passion for lump hefting?
Yes.
Oh, well
In
done,
this
sir.
specific-
Yeah, nice
Well
augmentation. Yeah.
100 inspiration
Fantastic.
points. Oh no.
No, yeah. I was watching a D&D adventure, and the person said at the end, she said, "That was so good, I nearly awarded an inspiration point." And everybody was going, "What? No!"
When there.
Okay, so roll your brawn.
It's rolling.
Yeah, and you sort of like grab the rope tight and sort of like heave back and put your things up, and Gulliver, you managed to clamber up onto roll another athletic skill, Gulliver, for me, please. And you try to scramble up, and you're sort of like flailing around, and Hengist, you give an almighty yank on the thing and just bring Gulliver back up onto the actual onto the ladder. Do you wish to say anything, Hengist?
Hengist will just wink at him.
Cool. And this sort of like everybody else has seen this and sort of like let out a sigh of relief as Hengist saves Gulliver's life. Well done, Hengist.
Well, very well done, Hengist.
And as
I'm surprised Gulliver didn't go, wee!
yeah, a bit of a swing, but then he started to swing, and Hengist grabbed the rope and swung it back the other way, and Gulliver tried to clamber up, but just landed on it. And you continue way up. Now, I did mention at the beginning that some of the planks do not look they look a bit rotten in stage 2. So there is a chance that if you stand on a plank, it is rotten and it gives way underneath you. So could all of you please just roll a 1d100? There's a percentage chance, and if you get below it or above it, whichever way, then that would be it.
Can't I just step over the wrong ones?
No, what you do is that you
I
actually
know.
stand on it and your foot goes through it.
But I don't want to do that.
Okay, so the only person who finds one is Hengist.
Yes. I mean,
You need
Me!
under 20%, less than 20%, and you find one. So Hengist, there is a time that go like that. Bartleby, could you roll a brawn, please, with your super strength
Oh my god,
attack?
yes.
Oh yeah,
And-
you guys are
lifts him
gonna be
with his
so
little
impressed.
And Gulliver, could you make a brawn roll as well for me? Yeah, so between them both, between Gulliver and Bartleby, you don't fall off completely. The ladder just goes like that, and you sort of like pull through. But both Gulliver and Bartleby quickly sort of like lean back and sort of like take the strain between them, and they hold it enough. Just make an athletics roll for me.
Fleet, how high are we up at the moment?
If you drop, you'll sink and die.
Permanently.
So can I just
Hengist
say,
is going to utter a minor oath at this point.
Is it repeatable on the stream?
No.
No. Okay, roll your.
Bartleby, is that with your
parental
bonus,
guidance,
Bartleby?
advisement, whatever it's called. Athletics, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, and you sort of like fumble around, and while Gulliver couldn't get any leverage on anything, you actually managed to get onto the rope and sort of like pull yourself up and sort of like look
Hengist
at.
musters another oath. It's the same one.
Yeah, and Bartleby, you're sort of going, what? Potty
It's like
mouth.
sailor's language.
Yeah,
That's-
potty Hengist mouth. That's what it is.
Shame on
I
you.
think it's worth it. It's warranted, Bartleby.
You're a noble.
So after going up the ladders in various states of falling and saving each other's lives, you eventually get to the top of the cliff face. And I say the top of the cliff face because it is incredibly strange. there seems to be only about a 5-meter bit of the rock that goes round the base of this rectangular tower. There's no sort of like promenade up to the door or anything like that. It's as if the base of the tower sits on the top of the sea stack. And what's interesting, the top of the sea stack was not straight. And so it looks, you're not too sure whether or not the tower's been dug into the rock and placed there and built round these undulating rocks, or whether or not it actually, the rock has grown up around it. But there's definitely rocky boulders and things right there around. There is a big double wooden door at the front, and all the windows that you can see have those slatted shutters on them, but the slats are completely and utterly closed. Okay, and you sort of like get up to the top and you sort of like take a look around, and the actual walkway, there seems to be no path or anything. There just seems to be these huge double doors ahead of you. What would you like to do?
Azra's first thing when he's at the top is to take a look around and see what's out there, and as you described, he's going to gingerly move forward towards the doors.
Yeah, okay. And what about, so Hazra's going to start to move stealthily or gingerly towards the door. What about, I'm assuming, by the way, that you've unhooked your rope from you all. So what about the rest of it? Bartleby, what are you going to do?
He'd draw his club, of course, and watch the others for what to do, following behind after they've moved forward.
Okay. Hengist.
Hengist will have his hand on his sword hilt. It's still sheathed, but he's started to draw it, so there's like a couple of inches of blade.
Oh, like the samurais do when they go.
Yeah, so it's like a thumb's width. So he's got it prepared, ready to draw, but he's not drawn it with his right hand placed on it, and he's going to move up a few paces. He's going to be a couple of meters, well, a few meters behind, a few strides, behind Hazra.
Okay.
In front of Bartleby, but he's going to say, I mean, we best be prepared, but surely this should be a friendly visit. After all, we are visiting a fellow sorcerer, Gulliver. I mean, we don't know why he's blocked it, but he could have just blocked it because he was tired of using it.
Tired of using what?
The portal. It may have just been he's put a rug over it because he doesn't want visitors, rather, or he's ill rather than anything sinister.
We better be careful just in case there is something sinister. I didn't really trust that February guy. February?
February.
Oh, he's got the question. It's February.
Forbury.
Gulliver's going to approach the door. He wants to be keeping his back to the wall so he can see.
So it's everybody's sort of like moving up in the almost like the marching order that you can see. So Hazra's at the front. Then
Hazra will be
Hengist.
looking at the floor as well as he moves forward. He wants to be looking at everything as he moves forward. He does not trust these finger wigglers.
Yeah.
Hengist is keeping half an eye on the sky and then half an eye on the door because he's half expect, and then sort of like, so every so often he'll sort of like half pause in his step and he'll look over his shoulder so he can see Gulliver and Bartleby and the sky behind them as well.
Got ya.
Because he's half expecting a harpy to fly out of nowhere.
Yeah, and as
because
you
it makes sense after the captain said, Captain Jack said that they roost on the island.
Yeah. And you can sort of like look out, Hengist, and you notice that this black cloud goes for considerable miles. I mean, it stretches almost to the horizon. You know, you can't sort of like see anything. And once you all get up at the top, that almost like triggers the rain. And all of a sudden rain starts to fall. Not drip, drip, drip. More sort of like torrential downpour of rain. Just like that. So much so that you're blinking because anything's wet is clinging to your skin in a matter of seconds, and you're constantly, at times you have to put your head down. Hazra, make a survival, or no, make a tracking roll for me, because you have tracking, don't you?
What's that? What you hear is the sound of rain on metal on Hengist.
Yeah.
As it's going.
Like you sat in a car.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
Yes.
That's all you hear with Hengist.
You're lucky. I'm just getting heavier.
Yeah. You notice that all these bits, Hazra's got bat wings now. And you make your way towards the door, and you approach the double door. And the first thing you notice, Hazra, is that one side of it, one side is completely normal. Mm-hmm. The other side of it is all broken and broken in, and there's wood on the floor, and there's wood on the other side of the area. You can see that it's dark within. It's dark within, but it sort of like comes out into some kind of a short corridor behind. But it's pitch black in there. But like I say, the left-hand door is totally normal. The right-hand door, make an insight roll for me.
Certainly.
Yeah, you're not too sure. There's something unusual about it, but you can't quite...
So it's not the same as when his house was broken into and he saw the way things came inwards. It's not natural in a sense.
It looks like it's been broken on purpose, but there's something... There's almost something there that you should be recognizing, some conclusion that you're meant to have drawn from this, but it's almost like on the edge of your
my cognition.
But you can't seem to get it.
So Hazra will look back and say, Gulliver, your friend's house has been broken into, look. And he'll call Gulliver to come forward. He won't step any further. He'll just call Gulliver to come have a look.
He's not my friend. That's why he's a member of the Order of the Lich.
Oh, sorry, I thought you'd all this saying.
What have you done to his door?
I've not touched his door. I just came here this way already. See, this side is fine, but this side is all broken and here, there, and everywhere.
Did someone just ping something then?
No.
Does it look like the door was still barred from the inside or not?
There seems to be no barring of the door at all. You can roll your insight. Roll your insight. Yeah, what you notice it after a while of looking, the door is broken. It looks like it's been smashed. You're not too sure inwards or outwards. It almost looks like it's been torn apart. But the interesting thing, the thing that was on the edge of Hazra's mind but couldn't quite focus on it, Gulliver, you recognise straight away, there's not enough wood in this broken state to make that side of the door again. There's some wood missing. So it hasn't just been knocked down, it's been smashed, but you sort of like look at what's on the floor on either side and you think, there's not enough wood there. There's not enough wood there to make that door at all.
Is there any markings on the other side of the door? Like that one might have been hit by something.
The other side of the door is completely intact. There looks like there's been no barring going across or anything like that. It doesn't look like the doors were barred. There is some kind of primitive tumbler lock on it, but it doesn't look like it was, you know, you can't see one of the sliders from the other side stuck out or anything like that. It literally looks like somebody's either, or something has just smashed it and taken some of the wood. It's definitely been smashed. The other side is not damaged at all. So, Hengist, roll your strategic. You have a warlike.
Angus hasn't a clue.
Yeah, you sort of like look at it and say, I don't know what's happened here, but doors are not my speciality at all.
This might be a dumb question, but seeing that we're not getting anywhere in answers, would Bartleby be able to pipe up with his lore of monsters of whether or not he suspicions that the Harpies are responsible?
Yeah, okay then. Roll
Or
it.
stealing perhaps for their nest? That's a long shot. Terrible story.
Terrible
Used up
story.
all our rolls already.
It could have been. You're not too sure. You tell the party that story in any case. You sort of like say, maybe the wood that has been got by the Harpies, they are bird-like. Maybe they will be making nests. And everybody sort of goes,
Yeah, no, we sit with smiling
sense.
faces.
Everybody says,
Really?
yes, Bartleby.
Yeah.
Well
Surprised they
done.
weren't flying goblins.
Well, with that,
There is enough room in this bit to go into.
yeah, I was going to say, Hazard's going to take a step into the corridor, and once he's out of the rain, he's going to lean his spear against the wall and strike up his torch.
Okay, cool. Let me give you some light. Oh, wow. Dynamic lighting had an update.
Oh.
Night vision gives this token the ability to see without any light. How cool
I
is
have that.
Vision allows it if there's light or right. I think we need that on, and we need you to do 9 meters there, and I think that should be you. Apart from it's not working. Token emits light. Oh, hang on. I need to also click has light. Do you know, I'm just going to turn, I'll leave that on and put 9 meters in there. All players have sight. Da, da, da. Okay.
Nice map.
You're not on it yet, are you?
I can see it.
See nothing.
I've stepped through so I can see a
Oh
corridor.
yes, yeah, I have
way,
moved
yes.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hang on. Well, Hengist, you're going to see it in a second. Can you see it yet?
Look at the size of that dragon.
Sorry, I can't see anything.
I'm just clicking everybody. All players see the light. Bartleby, can you see anything?
Not a thing.
Just 1 second. See anything now?
Yes. Look very fancy.
Do you like the gelatinous cube?
Hengist, can you
Looks
see?
very scrummy. No, I can't see. All I can see is a black screen then. Well, sorry.
All players see light.
Scroll to the bottom in case you.
Gulliver, can you see?
I've zoomed right out.
No, I've got nothing.
Right, has sight, top 1 on. Okay. Da, da, da. Top 1 on. Tell me if you suddenly see something.
Yeah, I can.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so you seem to be in this entrance hall. Whatever you see now is actually what you actually see in real life. So the map is an exact replica of the Dark Tower. The ground seems to be almost like some kind of granite marble. It's very grey in colour, but it's totally stonework. There seems to be this yellow inlay there. You're not too sure whether or not it looks like gold. It's gold's colour, but you're not too sure what it actually is. But there are the two skulls down on either side. There's two pillars ahead of you, and the corridor carries on between that. On either side, there's a set of stairs that goes to a doorway. And to the left of you, to the west, there is another doorway. Hazra and Gulliver, can you make perception rolls for me, please? For people watching the stream, I've shut it down, so this is all that the players see because of their light, so they don't see everything that you can see. Right, perception. Right, both of you make a perception check. Well done. So the door to your west. Okay, I say a doorway because it looks like there was once a door there. There's some splinters of wood on the ground, but that's it. And you don't know about the two at the top of the stairs or where the other corridor goes yet, but Hazra and Gulliver, you definitely look to the west and you see that, and it's definitely a doorway, and it's definitely bits of splintered wood and things on the ground. But Gulliver, you recognise that there's not enough wood there to make a whole doorway.
Just on a side note, would Gulliver shared with Hazra about the front door or not?
Yeah, he'll share anything like that.
Yeah.
In which case, would Hazra, as he's walking through the entrance hallway, have noticed more wood further up as he's walking through?
No.
Yeah, to get to this point. So
No.
literally, the wood from the door has disappeared.
Yes, and the remnants of the door are very localized. So
Because not a big a bash pattern as such.
no, so the door, the wood that is left from this doorway, is literally either side of the door.
How cold
It's
is
not
it?
scattered down the right.
As in,
Would it be cold enough to need a fire at night?
you would have. I mean, this is a marble building. It's going to get very cold. You would have thought that a fire could be useful.
Okay.
Are there any obvious signs of no life? As in, is there lots of dust? Is there massive cobwebs and that sort of thing? Or is it look like it's fairly well lived in?
Yeah, it looks like it's fairly well lived in. There's no cobwebs anywhere that you can see at the moment. You are very much aware that the stonework, the stone flooring in this sort of like area is still quite wet, because any rain that would have washed in from outside would have entered this area. So it looks like nobody's mopped it up or anything like that.
And there's no sign of any footprints in the water that's come through.
No, not at all. And there seems to be no footprints after the water, as if somebody's walked through it and carried on.
Maybe they're using the wood left over from the door to block the portal.
Maybe
Or-
they had to burn it to
or to
survive.
We don't know while stood here
Mistress Duncan said that it was on the ground floor. Was the portal?
So where do you think it would be placed?
I say go left.
Just to let you know, the two stairwells are not big enough to go onto a second floor, if that makes sense. It's just sort of like going up to little landings.
Like a dais around there.
Yeah. Sorry, Gulliver, which way were you suggesting?
Gulliver suggested going left.
I think you're right, because in the other places we have gone through those strange places, they've always been in out of the way places.
Okay, so you sort of like carry on in single file round here. I'm going to move you all round, and then who's going after Hazra?
Gulliver will.
Angus will bring up the rear in this case if we're going down a narrow corridor.
Yeah.
So Hazard's walking, he's literally got his spear in his right hand, torch in his left hand, and he will turn to Gulliver as he's walking down his corridor and say, Gulliver, would you mind holding this torch for me in case I get into any trouble? I would need both my hands.
Oh, me too. Okay, I'll hold it.
Are you sure? But if you need to, then pass it to Bartleby, see if he will hold it.
Decide who's going to hold the torch, because I keep switching
I'm happy to
the
hold
9mm. Okay, then let me just. So, yours is going off.
If we get in trouble, I mean, I'll hold the light.
It's very brave of you.
I mean, I drop my club easy and put a hand on somebody to stop them from feeling pain.
Let me just take off that. So hopefully everybody can still see.
Yay.
But
Yes.
a little bit
lesser.
So just so you know, Hazra, as you pass the torch backwards, you see into this room. It seems to be quite a large room. You couldn't see the other side of it, but you could see something here that looked like
a table, wasn't it?
Yeah, that looked like some kind of table. You would all need to actually go in to actually perceive what exactly is in there. The other thing that I will say is that the corridor continues in a northerly fashion. I think you probably saw the door. There's a doorway at the end before you pass the torch down.
But yeah, I didn't, to be fair, but yeah, okay. Thank you. So we'll keep moving forward. I'll move to the edge of the light and wait for
Hengist, make a strategy roll.
Okay, strategy roll.
Gulliver's going to stop at this doorway and wait for Bartleby to come around.
Yeah, Hengist, you're almost like strategy brain clicks in, and sort of like you start to tell Bartleby and Hazra, you sort of like say, wait, we don't want to leave anything that we haven't explored behind us. It could be holding something. It's always better to make sure there's nothing left behind us. That was my Hengist voice, by the way.
I wouldn't want to get ambushed by harpies.
No, it's not a good idea, or anything worse.
So when
Goblins.
when the
Like
torch
goblins,
comes up behind you, Gulliver, because you're in the doorway now, and it seems to be some kind of stately dining area. The actual table is completely intact, because it appears to be a huge wood marble table made out of graphite. The chairs round about, they seem to be some kind of stone creation, so they're still there, but there seems to be like a cushion in the stone area, and round about you can see pillars. These two things here were wooden cabinets, okay, but you can see just for looking around, they look like there's not a lot of cabinets in there. is the idea. You'll need to move into the room to get more information.
Yeah, so he'll move in to have a closer look.
Okay.
Same.
Hazra and Hengist, are you guarding the door, or is one of you guarding the door?
You're muted, Hazra.
So I'll step in the room in the hope that Hengist might
Hengist
just
will
back
happily
into the
guard
door.
Okay.
And become a door.
Hengist will be standing in the doorway.
That's what I was just moving
facing
you
outwards.
Hengist is a door.
there. Okay, so this room is very ornate. It looks like it's some kind of dining area. Up to the north, there's actually a rack full of green bottles. You can probably see it on the picture. Anything that has wood in it has been smashed. So these were sort of like wooden sailor's wheels. They're sort of like smashed. Okay, and there's wood on the ground. These two items here have been smashed. But yet again, the similar thing that keeps coming up again and again and again is that
Lack of wood.
yeah, there's not a lack. There's a complete lack of wood, and there's various pictures, paintings, portraits on the walls, and as you sort of like come in and start to circulate round, one of these pictures, Gulliver, it catches your eye, and you sort of like look at it, and you're not too sure why it's drawn your attention. It looks quite almost like familiar, but not familiar. And you sort of like wander over to it, and it's got a little copper plate stuck to the bottom of the picture, and engraved in it, and it's obviously been engraved for some time. It just has one word, and it just says Flagnag, if I pronounce that correctly. And there's a picture of a black-robed sorcerer behind.
And there's nobody else.
There's a huge amount of portraits, all with names that you don't know, but this one definitely is the name that you are completely familiar with. And at that point, we will stop for this week, because I'm 6 minutes over. So a bit of a realization for Gulliver as he sees a name that he's very familiar with, and something that we can catch up with in next week's, if Gulliver wishes to share. Now, just to let you know, next week we won't be streaming. That'll be the 25th. We'll be playing Mythras with the creator of one of the creators of the Mythras rule set, Lawrence Whitaker, who is going to be GMing for us. So it's a wonderful opportunity. We've almost like got the person who created Mythras GMing for us, and he set that up and said that that's what he wants to do. We'll be play testing a module, so it will be recorded, and I'm allowed to release it at a later date once all the rules have come out. The rules that we are playing have not actually been published yet, I don't think.
Almost, but not quite.
Yeah, so we've been sort of like doing it before then, which would be absolutely exciting for us. So we'll be doing that next Saturday, and then we'll see what happens after that. Obviously, if he wants us to finish off that module, then we'll put that time in so we get it finished. So that's really exciting for us.
Are we allowed to say what it's about? Or what it's based on?
No, not at the moment.
Okay.
Because I think I want that all to come from. I would hate that we say something that we're not meant
totally
to
agree.
say. Not meant to say. But he will be around. We are going to record it offline, and then we'll show you at a later date. So it's really quite. Yeah, Justin, I think it really is awesome to actually have the creator of the rules GMing for us. So we're really excited about that, and we get to know our characters soon, so I'm super excited about that. And I get to play, which is a wonderful opportunity, so I'm really
excited. If you want to watch us play a game,
Longshanks, we get to kill him.
Yeah.
Yes.
We kill him every week, multiple times.
Times.
You stabbed me in
This
the
time it's
back.
personal.
So
We
yes.
killed him about twice tonight, Hazra.
So I will be streaming ESO next Saturday, but there'll be no Mythras. I'll probably just set a rerun up so you can watch that if you need a Mythras fix. But we will be busy off enjoying our playing with Lawrence Whitaker being the GM. So that's super exciting. I will be back tomorrow to play ESO at 2 o'clock. So do come along and watch me there. And then later on in the evening, a bit of support in Overwatch just to finish off the weekend. Anybody in the party have anything to announce or anything?
No, thank you.
No.
None from me.
No, brilliant. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you enjoy everybody's role playing. I will be back on tomorrow at 2 o'clock. But until then, can I please remind each and every one of you, please, to stay safe, 2 meters apart, and wash your hands. Okay,
Oh.
and be nice to all the people who are still at work. For example, the post people.
Thumbs up to the posters.
Posties.
Or a crate of beer.
Yeah. And we will see you next time. Until then, I hope all your roles are greeted with a well-deserved special. Until then, happy Mythras, everyone, and we'll see you all later. Wave. Bye.
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 This video is sponsored by the Design Mechanism, the makers of Mythras. Mythras is a registered trademark of the Design Mechanism Inc., used with permission. All rights reserved.